They have been waiting in Ruston all week for the blue out, and the Bulldogs have been waiting for Western Kentucky to make the trip here to Louisiana Tech so they can try and take the belt from the defending conference champs. College football on CBS Sports Network is presented by Geico. It's the Hilltoppers and the Bulldogs here from Ruston. Hey folks, how are you? Jason Horowitz, happy to be with Coach Rick Neuheisel. Happy to have you with us here on this Thursday night for this Conference USA Showdown. And Coach, one of the things we've talked about all week, one of the things the coaches told us all week, these teams are like mirror images of each other.
Absolutely. These teams are all about their offense. It's all about tempo, tempo, tempo. You're going to not be able to get away from the television tonight. You're going to miss something. And they have circled this game for the entire offseason to make sure, because to win the conference, this game's a must.
Even though they're on opposite divisions, this is huge for both. Coach, leave it for a former quarterback to like the quarterbacks and the gunslingers. Mike White's the guy for Western Kentucky.
Well, you like their stories. Here's a kid who transferred from South Florida, waits in the wings, watching Brandon Dowdy, and now it's his turn, and he's making it happen. They've got 30 explosives so far this year. I like what Mike White's getting done.
Meanwhile, Ryan Higgins started as a redshirt freshman. Now here is a senior back starting again.
Again, apprenticing the last 2 years for senior transfers. He's got a couple of weapons we're going to have fun watching tonight, but taking advantage of his opportunity.
All right, speaking of weapons, if you like your Taylors, we've got two of them. Taywan Taylor for Western Kentucky, Trent Taylor for Louisiana Tech.
Well, you got to love Trent Taylor. All he does is get open, and he'll tell you he's open every huddle, I promise you. And Taywan, he knocks the top off of coverages. He is going to be a burner tonight. La Tech's going to have to keep track of him.
Those are two of the top 7 receivers in the nation in terms of yards per game. It has been 2 years since Western Kentucky and Jeff Brom on the left lost a conference game. That was here, November of 2014. Tonight, against Skip Holtz and the Bulldogs, they try to make it 14 straight conference games, which would tie a CUSA record. It is hot here in Ruston. They are passing out water bottles left and right. We didn't get any, unfortunately.
I hadn't noticed with my jacket on.
Normally in this time of the year here, it is in the 70s. It's been in the 90s, and it's at 86 here at kickoff. And so we are set to go. Louisiana Tech 2-3 off a victory against UTEP. Western Kentucky 3-2. Losses to Vanderbilt, loss to Alabama. That Vanderbilt game in overtime. And the defending conference champs won the toss, elected to receive. And so Jonathan Barnes set to kick it away for the Bulldogs. They're in this Thursday night showdown, and we're underway. Back deep, that is Kylan Downer, one of the best kickoff men in the country, and he's got a huge hole on the opening play. He's out past midfield. Kylan Downer, better than 36 yards per kick return, and better than that on the first play.
Absolutely beautifully set up return. We talked to both coaches yesterday. They said how big both field position and special teams would play tonight. Obviously, La Tech getting off to a fabulous start. Excuse me, Western Kentucky.
So, Mike White, quarterback for the Hilltoppers, had 517 yards in the opening game against Rice. And they will go tempo early. That is Anthony Wales getting the carry. And that is 11 yards, make it 12 on first down. Take a look at the Chick-fil-A starting lineups. And Mike White, you highlighted it, Rick, off the top, the transfer from South Florida.
Absolutely a great story, and he's going to have to be pretty clean tonight. No turnovers for this team to take care of business.
1st and 10. Finds Wales out of the backfield, and again, they've got big plays. That's another first down on a first down play. The rest of the offense for the Hilltoppers, they've got experience on the front line, and that includes Forrest Lamp at left tackle, making his 43rd career start.
Well, he's missed the last 2 games. They're happy to have him back. We saw that first run. They ran right behind him. I think they like the big fella back in the lineup.
Only 8 on that first down play. They give it to Wales, and that one is strung out. Demarion King, the safety, making the start in the secondary, brought him down, and it'll bring up 3rd down. His companion, Xavier Woods, though, is the stabling force for this defense.
Well, he's the leader of this defense. He is unbelievably instinctive. They're going to move him around. He plays on the back end, but you're going to see him at nickel. He is going to make a bunch of plays in the backfield. 7.5 tackles for loss a year ago.
White on 3rd down. The pass has got his man, and he's got a first down. That is Taywan Taylor.
Speak of the Taylor, right there he is. This is just a little bubble screen. Mike White taking what the defense gives him, moving the chains again. This is a beautiful drive. Jeff Brom could not have scripted it better.
Well, when you start on the plus side of the field on your opening drive on the road. White again. It's Taylor again. He gets into the red zone and takes it down to the 12-yard line.
Jason, this is what we call an RPO, a run-pass option. The offensive line was blocking a sweep to the left, but he saw the numbers out here, gets it to Taylor. They take advantage in the free yards.
Tonight's red zone is brought to you by Verizon. On the season, Western Kentucky just 10 of 22 for touchdowns. So they're kicking a lot of field goals when they get in. That's the run. Anthony Wales is tripped up. Russell Ferris met him in the backfield, and it'll bring up third down again.
Great play by the La Tech defense. That's what you need. You got to get some stops here. Get the opponent in as many third downs as possible. That gives La Tech a chance to get a stop here, hold them to a field goal.
The Bulldogs last week, they only gave up 7 points to Texas El Paso. Skip Holtz, though, said, hey, we didn't get off the field on third down. We didn't play as great as a team that only gave up 7 points. Good opportunity here. It's third down and 3. White has his receiver, and he's inside the 10, and that's enough for the first down. That's Nicholas Norris, the other great receiver for the Hilltoppers.
Nicholas Norris also in the top 8 returning receivers in Conference USA. A nice little pick route right there, getting him open into space. Mike White taking advantage.
So first and goal for Western Kentucky. It's the opening drive. Again, it's the bubble screen. This time, nowhere to go. Xavier Woods, safety you highlighted, came up to make the stop.
You have to be able to tackle in space when you're playing these RPOs. Again, they had the sweep called. Mike White liked the numbers outside, gets it to his speed, but a great tackle by Xavier. Beautiful job right here. And that's how you have to play these up-tempo offenses. You have to have athletes that can tackle in space.
Mike White has not missed a pass on this drive. 5 of 5. Second and goal. He's looking back at the end zone and nobody home. Nakarius Fant, the intended receiver. Prince Sam, the transfer from Houston Baptist in coverage. Cedric Cooper there as well. And again, third down for the Hilltoppers.
That was beautiful coverage that time by the Bulldogs. Blake Baker said they were going to use some man coverage, but had to use it sparingly. That time they used it perfectly, took away a red zone chance for the Hilltoppers.
Now, Rick, this is where the field has shrunk for Jeff Brom. What type of play are you looking for?
Well, you're going to get probably a 3-by-1. They'll probably motion to it and create some opportunities via pick, with somebody probably getting to the back of the end zone, somebody getting to the corner.
They do motion. It's Taylor. It's third and goal. It's White. It's over the middle. It's a touchdown. Nicholas Norris, his 6th touchdown grab of the season, and the Hilltoppers march right down the field on the opening drive.
These offenses are so beautiful because they counter everything they do. I said we're looking for a corner route. The corner route doesn't materialize, and he backs inside, pivots back inside. White's patient in the pocket, protection being the key right there.
Now, kicking has been a problem this year for Western Kentucky. Ryan Nuss against Vanderbilt missed a short 25-yard field goal. He also missed an extra point, so they are going with Skylar Simcox tonight, sophomore out of Abingdon, Virginia, and he knocks it through. Hilltoppers took advantage of the great field position to start, and Mike White with his 10th touchdown pass of the season. Well, the defending Conference USA champs off to a great start on a touchdown grab by Nicholas Norris. 7-0 they lead here at Louisiana Tech. Now, it's the first trip they've made since 2 years ago when the Hilltoppers got hammered by the Bulldogs. Kenneth Dixon was great. Cody Sokol and Trent Taylor were awesome. 59-10. Louisiana Tech beat Western Kentucky the last time the Hilltoppers lost in Conference USA. And for more, third member of our team, Taylor Rooks.
Thanks, guys. Of course, this is a big game for both sides, but Western Kentucky is taking it personally, and it's because of that loss that you just mentioned. It was the worst loss in Coach Brum's history here. Now, I talked to some of the players before the game, and they said that game was just embarrassing. It's been a talking point all week, and it's been motivation to win this one. But Necarius fans said it's games like this that make you want to play college football, because at the end, you know exactly who wanted it more. Jason?
Yeah, no question about that, Rick. And these are the games. They beat them last year 41-38, but this is the spot where they got embarrassed.
Well, absolutely, and you don't forget that sort of thing. And right now, La Tech wants what Western Kentucky has, which is a 13-game winning streak. They want to take that away, and they have to play great the rest of the night if they're going to get that done.
Wasn't sure what happened. Alfred Smith ran out of his shoe. And so they'll take it out at the 25. Our Chick-fil-A starting lineups for the Bulldogs. And it's Ryan Higgins. Started as a freshman, but here as a senior, Rick, he has been really good.
Well, you see the numbers. They're outstanding, right? And just as long as he takes care of the football and keeps finding all these mainstay weapons like Trent Taylor, good things will happen for the Bulldogs.
He has not thrown an interception since the second quarter of the second game of the season. 14 quarters in a row for Ryan Higgins. Throwing on first down. He can scramble, and he picks up a couple of yards. Keith Brown, great middle linebacker for Western Kentucky, brought him down. Rest of the starting lineups for Louisiana Tech. Offensive line on the left side, very good. Darrell Brown. Carlos Henderson missed last game, and he's back today.
Well, we talked about Trent Taylor, and he's the guy they're going to focus on, but so too will the defense. So this gives a guy like Carlos Henderson, who has great speed, a chance to get down the field, make big plays.
Higgins to throw on 2nd and 8. Taking a shot deep, and he's got his man. It is Carlos Henderson. You called for the big play early, and they just hit one.
I didn't realize this broadcasting thing was this easy. You just tell them what to do, and they run down the field, make a big play, Jason. That's awesome.
48 yards to Carlos Henderson.
Well, beautiful job in the pocket. You see a little run fake, but making the interior defense. But that's no reason for a free safety to give up the center of the field. They'll still get corrected on the sideline. But like we talked about, Henderson has the ability to make plays with his feet after the catch.
We talked about chunk plays, explosive plays all week. Western Kentucky had one. Now Louisiana Tech has one. Jared Kraft on the handoff. Excuse me, they handed that off to Carlos Henderson.
That was Henderson in the backfield, yep.
Here's the Chick-fil-A starting lineups for Western Kentucky on defense. Joel Iyiegbuniwe.
You practiced that one all night. Joel Iyiegbuniwe, he's the kind of their pass rusher. He's got 3.5 sacks on the year, a 3.5 student, kind of just learning how to play football, but very explosive athlete.
Leads this team those 3.5 sacks, and they have come 14 sacks for Western Kentucky the last 3 games. Higgins on 2nd down. He's being chased, picks up a few, and gets out of bounds.
Now that's a perfect example of a quarterback using poise. He's out in the pocket. There could have been some places where he'd have pulled the trigger and tried to get into a tight window, but he's got poise, and he ends up taking his time and moving the ball down the field. This is exactly what you want from an experienced signal caller.
And he can do that too. Higgins is the 2nd leading rusher on this Louisiana Tech team behind Jared Kraft.
You watch this Trent Taylor now when he stacks behind a receiver. This is a great way to get him loose.
He's in the middle of your screen here on 3rd and 7. Higgins the other way, and he's got a touchdown. Carlos Henderson, welcome back.
Jason, again, Trent Taylor is so valuable, he can become a decoy. You saw coverage move to him. That gives a guy like Henderson the rail shot down the sideline, and Higgins, poised again, stands in there and fires a dart.
Third touchdown of the season for Henderson, and here's Taylor.
Yeah, you're seeing how he's just got this body language that tells their quarterback, I'm going to be available. They've got somebody in position, but he takes advantage of the opening on the other side of the field.
Jonathan Barnes hasn't missed an extra point in 2 years, and still hasn't. So an opening drive for Western Kentucky answered by Louisiana Tech.
I told you before this was going to be like tennis. We'll talk more about that when we come back.
Novak Djokovic against Roger Federer here in Ruston. First quarter tied at 7.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Icy Hot Smart Relief TENS Therapy. Turn off pain. And by Verizon. Join a better network, because better matters.
2 catches, 70 yards for Carlos Henderson on Louisiana Tech's opening drive, putting a 22-yard touchdown grab, and we are tied at 7. Rick Neuheisel, what happened on the touchdown play?
This corner, Western Kentucky's corner, has to get a jam on that receiver so that that safety can get over to the corner. What happens here is the play runs, we get no jam on the receiver. He gets into the secondary too easy. The safety doesn't have time to get to the rail. Touchdown, Bulldogs.
That was DeAndre Simmons as the corner, and Brandon Leston the safety.
That jam is called a reroute. Anytime you're playing 2 high safeties, you got to jam those receivers so they can't get vertical as fast as possible.
Now they had a 50-yard return against them on the last kickoff. This time they go the other direction. Now, the official is saying he touched the ball at the 1. The ball went out of bounds. The official is standing at the 1. He is not calling that a touchback.
Ruling on the field.
Touched the ball in the field of play. Then the ball rolled out of bounds at the 1-yard line. 1st and 10, Western Kentucky.
That is Stephen Brown. And that is an enormous mistake.
Absolutely. What was so beautiful in the opening kickoff return turns into a nightmare on this one.
We have seen some strange things on kickoffs this year. Out of the end zone, back into the end zone, and now you're backed up inside your own 1.
In a game like this, field position is so critical. That's going to be a mistake that is going to haunt them. Hopefully they can dig themselves out of this hole.
And we're going to get a review here.
Yeah, I didn't see him touch it. Did you, Jason?
Is under review. The ruling on the field that the ball was touched, then rolled out of bounds.
That's Daniel Gotro, Conference USA official. You actually want me to get off the fence and make a decision on this one?
My naked eye, and obviously I'm an older fella, but my naked eye did not see that ball get touched.
Well, he certainly didn't touch it with his hands, but did he touch it with his left foot? Because the other question they're going to look at, does the ball change trajectory here?
I don't see a touch. I'm calling clean.
But remember, you have to
I've always wanted this position to say what I really want. I want this clean. I don't see that ball touching.
Is there enough there for you for conclusive evidence to overturn this, though?
Well, that's a completely different story, right? If one thing we've learned about replay, conclusive is a very difficult thing to achieve.
That's a 5th-year senior, though, making that mistake. Now, he's not normally on kickoff returns.
I'm putting myself out on the ledge and saying that's going to come out to the 20. Or actually, it's going to end up being a penalty. They'll get the ball in the 35.
So you don't think he touched it?
I don't. My eyes tell me he didn't. The replay told me he didn't. Maybe they've got a better angle than what we have.
So he is talking with Brad Smith, who is the replay official up here in the booth. Let's find out.
After review, the ruling on the field stands.
All right, so he didn't say it was confirmed. He said it stands.
And my eyes said it wasn't, but the ruling on the field is the one they stay with if they don't have conclusive evidence. And again, we'd said that standard is a high one.
And Rick, you talked about this being tennis, right? When you have 2 up-tempo offenses like this and one scores and you answer, you have to answer back.
Like 2 power servers, you have to break serve. Defenses have, this is an excellent chance for the Bulldog defense to break serve.
White with the rollout. He's got his tight end at the 5. That is Stevie Donatel, Wake Forest transfer, and they get out some position away from the end zone. Keys to the game here with Western Kentucky, and you talked about establishing the run game.
Well, we saw it early. That first drive, they got the running game going because it takes pressure off the quarterback. It takes pressure off the protection issues, and it gives a lot of single high safety.
The fumble return for a touchdown, and I call that taking advantage of of the opportunity.
We talked to Jeff Brom yesterday. He said the absolute key to the game was taking care of the football. They've been loose. This is a perfect example of it. Taewon Taylor, I think that's an incomplete pass. Am I going to be 0 for 2 in my first broadcasting stint?
Now we again. But, and Daniel Gautreaux just announced that they're going to look at this as well. I'm not sure he ever had the football. Prince Sam was there to wrap him up right away.
I'm not going to waffle. I know I got burned in the first one. I'm not waffling. That is not a catch. That's got to be an incomplete pass.
Never had control of the football.
And I do think we have conclusive evidence this time.
Either way, though, Western Kentucky has fumbled the football, not including that one for now, 10 times the last 4 games. They've only lost 4 of them, but they're putting it on the deck a ton.
As we sit up here in the press box, Brian Brom went by us for his seat upstairs. He's on the phones all the time with his brother Jeff. And I asked him, what's the key? How would he have to have happen today to win? He said, we got to hang on to the ball. So it's obviously been loose on the practice field. Guys are doing push-ups every time they see air. That's going to be critical, again, and especially in a hostile environment. When you're on the road, you can't get a crowd into the game. It's like putting gas on a fire.
In your experience, when that starts happening over and over and over again, does practicing that, does emphasizing it make it better or worse?
There's an old axiom in coaching: you achieve what you emphasize, right? And you just make it one of the things that is part of the culture of your program. And you have to have great discipline by your coaching staff to not let it go. It's easy to say, oh, you know, he would have tucked it in a game. That's not the way it works. Some guys even tuck it on the way to class. I've seen running backs walk to class with a football.
Ruling on the field was a fumble and a Louisiana Tech touchdown.
After review, the ruling on the field is overturned. The ball will be placed at the 6-yard line, 2nd down and 10.
I'm 1 for 2.
Mr. Clock Operator, please reset the game clock to 8 minutes, 29 seconds. Thank you.
Now he mentioned 2nd and 10. This should be 3rd and 5. Remember,
3rd and 5.
They had the open
3rd and 5
play begin at the 1-yard line. Yeah, he never had control of the football.
It's a great job of keeping people in front of you. When you've got a long field behind you, you can't get beat on double moves. You can't get beat over the top. You go ahead and make these plays. And obviously, we talked about the critical portion of the 3rd down conversion rates in this ball game. Here's an excellent chance for the Bulldogs to get a stop. Break a serve, if you will.
Hilltoppers were 3 of 3 on 3rd down on the opening drive. That's Norris in motion. That's Taylor wide open, and he gets the 1st down. Taewon Taylor came wide open. Jordan Harris, the middle linebacker, brought him down, but they picked up the 1st.
A little drag route coming from the single receiver side. What I love about this play is you watch him. Watch how he catches it and gets immediately north and south. He doesn't try to run around that defender. That's how you move the chains.
5 wide receivers here on 1st and 10, so they dodge the bullet with the fumble. And we'll see if they can take advantage of it.
In empty formations, they love to get a call from the sideline because they can see this coverage.
Knocked down. Great play, Jordan Harris. 39 tackles to lead this team. 5th-year transfer from Iowa State. A great defensive play there.
This is a tough job for the quarterback when you're throwing to somebody who's coming into your eyes when there's a defender coming from the backside. You can't keep track of where the defense is.
So already we're seeing a different Louisiana Tech defense. They've been very good on 1st and 2nd down, but again, have not been able to get off the field early in this game, just like last week and all season. The handoff, and the defense is there. That's a host to bring down Anthony Wales. Russell Ferris led the way. Here are the changes. Cyril Nolan-Lewis making his first start at corner, but the dominoes began. They brought Cedric Cooper from safety to play linebacker. Jordan Harris moves to the inside, and then Demarion King, who they liked last week at safety, gets the start.
Blake Baker and Skip Holtz had a long conversation after the Texas Tech game about who could do what they're asking him to do, and they made some athletic changes to try to get more athleticism on the field.
Yeah, they gave up 666 yards in a 59-45 loss in Lubbock. 3rd down again. White, batted ball. Dangerous, but it falls to the turf, and the Bulldogs get off the field. Demarion King was there to battle away.
Great defensive stop. Again, this is the critical nature of field position. You're limited as to what you can do when you're backed up. They got him into 2 third downs, held on the second one. Beautiful job right here, reading the quarterback's eyes. Quarterback trying to shade the plate away from the blue shirts, not able to connect.
So Jake Collins on to punt it away. He has been pretty good this year for Western Kentucky at about 43 yards, but Trent Taylor is a dangerous return man for the Bulldogs. And he's going to get an opportunity. Backpedals to the 41. And Taylor's got some wiggle. And Taylor's got an 18-yard return.
Trent Taylor has such great ball skills. I watched him in the pregame warm-up catching punts. He could almost catch him behind his back.
So Louisiana Tech doesn't score on the fumble, but they get the ball back in Western Kentucky territory. Next Thursday, your weekend starts here when the Denver Broncos battle the San Diego Chargers. Thursday night football on CBS and on NFL Network. Meanwhile, tonight, Arizona and San Francisco, both 1-3 on the season. No score. We've got 7-7 here, Cardinals and 49ers, and again on CBS and NFL Network, no Carson Palmer in that game. A lot of energy in this building tonight.
You dance like that, Jason?
I try.
I think you can bust a move, pal.
I'm really good at the shopping cart. I've got that down.
I'll have to look that one up.
The lawnmower.
I have to have my kids show me that one.
What about you?
I'm old school, baby. Old school.
Saw you boogie down earlier. Tie ball game, 7 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Ryan Higgins back to work. Flag flies, and Higgins goes down at the 39.
Probably in the area where you're going to get a holding call. He had a guy underneath, and again, this sometimes you have to learn when to take the shot down the field on a 1st and 10 play. Just get that 5-6 yard gain. That'll be something they'll look at in the film room.
Personal foul, hands to the face. Defense, number 9. 15 yards will be added to the end of the run. First
That's
down.
Omarius Bryant, their 6'3" senior. 3 sacks. They think he is great, but they're called for the hands to the face.
I'm not sure I like that call. I think he's just getting in there and getting busy, but they love this kid Bryant. They call him country strong.
Nick Holt, the defensive coordinator at Western Kentucky. 4th year for the Hilltoppers. Head coach at Idaho at one point, former USC defensive coordinator as well. 1st and 10, it's Kraft out of the backfield on the swing pass, and Jared Kraft. It's got a first down for Louisiana Tech.
In the old days was the student body right. It was the Green Bay Packers running a sweep. This is the new sweep in college football. It's just a bubble to the running back, everybody out in front blocking, getting good athletes on grass. Works again beautifully for Louisiana Tech.
Jared Kraft had 96 yards total offense against Arkansas in the opener. They lost 21-20 in Fayetteville. He has been better than 135 yards in each of the 4 games since. Higgins finds Taylor, and he finds himself to the 5, about a yard short of the first down. But just like that, thanks to the penalty, La Tech in business.
This is almost the exact same route they threw to Henderson for the touchdown early. This time they go to Taylor. Remember, we had the spot shadow on Taylor. This time they go to him because he gets himself open. He's a miracle worker at that.
He's at the top of the screen. Henderson's at the bottom. 2nd and 1. It's Kraft. And it's a touchdown for the Bulldogs. He walks into the end zone, and Louisiana Tech takes the lead.
Beautiful crack screen. Henderson comes in and blocks the inside linebacker. The left tackle comes out and kicks out. It's just beautifully done. Watch Henderson come in, level the block. You get the big fellas out in front. They love this. It's Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Touchdown, Bulldogs.
Massive block by O'Shea Dugas, the left guard from Lafayette, Louisiana. So Barnes on for the extra point. And it's 14-7 La Tech here at home. Western Kentucky riding a 13-game conference winning streak. But the Bulldogs have scored on both of their drives here in the first quarter. Well, the Bulldogs averaging 11 yards per play, and they're up 14-7 on the Jared Kraft receiving touchdown out of the backfield. Let's take a look at the Go RVing road trip facts for Louisiana Tech. Joe IA Stadium, they've got some upcoming improvements. New press box, nearly $17 million. They just created the Davison Athletic Complex. You see it at the top of your screen right there. It bookends one of the stadium sides here. It is beautiful. We got our meetings there yesterday.
Absolutely beautiful.
Big time here in Ruston.
And Skip Holtz told me personally what it means to him, to his team, to the recruiting efforts. It's for those who contribute to such buildings. Just, I want you to know, thank you.
Well, and Skip Holtz's office overlooks the field, but he said he never actually wants to coach in that office. He says that's more problematic.
No, that's for his dad. When his dad's here, that's where his dad sits and writes notes and give them to him.
Out of the end zone, it's Towner, and it's off to the races again. 50 yards on the opening return, and much more this time. Chased down at the 13-yard line. Xavier Woods caught him, but an 87-yard return.
This is absolute feast or famine. Two great returns, this one almost to the house. Short fields for the Hilltoppers, and the other one down on the one, which ends up in a turnover on downs and a touchdown for the Bulldogs. This is unbelievable, this what we're seeing in special teams. Tony Levine handling the teams now for the Hilltoppers.
Former head coach. And Towner, who came into this game 36.5 yards per kickoff return, top 10 in the nation. He's got 136 return yards tonight and 2 carries. It's Ace Wells fighting his way to the pylon, doesn't quite get there. But first and goal coming up for Western Kentucky.
We talked about Forrest Lamp early, the road grader at the left tackle. They love having him back. This is the second time they've actually absolutely caved in that side of the line of scrimmage.
Jeff Brom, head coach, calls the plays. His brother, Brian Brom, told us the good ones come from upstairs instead. It's Wells, and Wales pushes his way, is in. Anthony Wales. 6th touchdown of the season, and a quick answer for the Hilltoppers.
And the ability to do it on the ground will have residual effect as the game wears on. This is a hot night. There are not a lot of defensive linemen on either roster. This is critical to be able to control the line of scrimmage.
So 2 plays after the 87-yard kickoff return by Towner. And Western Kentucky. Talk about all the emotional swings. We've only played 10 minutes.
Welcome to Conference USA. This is all you want, and then some.
Simcox good. We are tied at 14. Well, 41-38 last year. Western Kentucky got the victory over La Tech in Bowling Green. And Skip Holtz having the conversation with his coaching staff. I mean, again, they have not been able to stop the kickoff return.
People, when you run down on a kickoff coverage, it's the exact same as playing defense. You have to have gap integrity where you're keeping leverage. Obviously, on these 2 big returns, Louisiana Tech has lost leverage, and they've resulted in huge plays. And now they're finishing the job, mauling them to get it in the end zone.
Now, you and I talked about explosive plays for Western Kentucky. They're top 10 in the nation. 20-yard plays, 30-yard plays, 40-yard plays. That includes kickoff plays. Got 2 of them on kick returns tonight.
We talked about short fields. There's a lot of ways to get short fields. One is through an explosive, one is through a turnover, one is through a big play on special teams. You'll take them any way you can get them because it's hard to go 80, 90 yards against good defenses. When you have these kind of short fields, it becomes that kind of night where it's going to be a scoring fest.
Boston Scott, Alfred Smith back deep, Louisiana Tech. And Smith will bring it out to the 25-yard line. It's time for the icy hot injury report of the night. We could use some icy hot, by the way. It's pretty hot. Western Kentucky's defense, which on the season has actually been decent, but they are missing 3 starters. Marcus Ward, 3-year starter safety. Nick Dawson-Brent's transfer from Louisville. They'll get him back this year. TJ McCollum is out with a separated shoulder. Last year's leading tackle at over 106 tackles. All three of those guys missing action tonight.
Watching film, McCollum and Ward are really good football players. They're hard to replace.
You talked about it. Without Marcus Ward, they are picking on the safeties for Western Kentucky.
Yeah, they have, here again, a shot, little behind him, but Henderson having a chance for a big play and just a little bit mistimed. This is what we call a bang eight, meaning that the quarterback's going to hit his back foot and let the ball go. It's a timing route.
First incompletion of the night for Ryan Higgins. Now 5 of 6, 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. Draw play, it's Jared Kraft. Up the middle, still on his feet. He picks up 15 before Brandon Leston. And Laverick Johnson brought him down.
It is hard to want to run the ball when you have all these gifted athletes outside and you've got a gifted passer, but it does wear on the defense, and it's really valuable in the late portions of the game.
They had the ability to run it with Kenneth Dixon last year. Record setter for most career touchdowns. He and Keenan Reynolds
were putting on a show trying to get that record, weren't they?
Reynolds ended up winning it. But Dixon left with 87 career touchdowns.
Dixon, a 4th-round pick for the Ravens.
1st and 10 for Higgins, and again, he can take off. 3rd time tonight, but Brandon Leston got him with the shoulder. So we're in a 14-all game. Louisiana Tech with the football. What have you been looking for on offense?
Well, again, we wanted to see if they could establish a running game, but red zone efficiency, they were perfect on each time down there. That's the kind of thing that they'll have to do. Go back to the Arkansas game where they had to kick field goals rather than score touchdowns. It ended up costing a chance for a big win over an SEC opponent.
It's Kraft on 2nd down. And again, he doesn't go down on the first hit. Gets across midfield. Keith Brown lost his helmet on the tackle, but enough for a 1st down.
This is what we call a one-back power, where you're going to get a puller on the backside. He's got to make that puller right, follows him outside, maybe got a little wide on that cut. He'll look at that on film and say maybe he got north and south there. But again, moving the chains.
So Kraft, 2 carries, 21 yards. He only had 13 carries against UTEP last Saturday, but 146 on the ground.
That's called good productivity.
Blitz come on 1st down, but it's Trent Taylor.
Run pass option right there. He's got a chance to give it, sees the opportunity to take advantage of the slant, and this is why Taylor gets 150 yards a game. It's beautifully done. Great job by the quarterback. No panic because there's a free runner at him. Just gets it out of his hand. On time, accurate, move the chains.
Two grabs tonight for Trent Taylor. He needs 35 to break Troy Edwards' school record of 280. 1st and 10. Higgins taking a shot. It's Henderson again! Carlos Henderson from 37 yards out. And La Tech and Higgins once again.
They're going to run out of fireworks. It keeps going like this, Jason. This, you talk about explosives. I don't know that they brought enough tonight.
My goodness. He beat Joe Brown 1-for-1, and there was no help.
You know, he's a gifted receiver. He's the second fiddle. He's the second option when you have a guy like Trent Taylor on the team. But goodness gracious, you have to pay attention to him, and you have to respect his speed.
He's not second fiddle tonight. 3 catches, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Carlos Henderson in the 1st quarter.
Carlos is going to put this film in the NFL offices, I promise you.
Now remember, Henderson missed the game last week against UTEP. Did it more on the ground, but he isn't missing anything tonight.
Right here, just working outside, trying to get down the field, taking a vertical shot, seeing what the safety will do. Higgins says, I like that.
And he has hit it on stride. with almost every pass tonight. Ryan Higgins, 7 of 8, 3 touchdowns.
I haven't been to a Skip Holtz practice, but that's usually period 5 when you go one-on-one against the DBs, and I promise they've hit 100 of those in practice. When they get one-on-one, they start licking their lips.
But now let's see the adjustments.
Yeah.
Because Western Kentucky has had a 50-yard kickoff return and an 87-yard kickoff return with Kylan Towner. And they aren't going to get a chance. It's the low-line drive. And that's the tight end, Shaquille Johnson. But again, it's good field position. They're at the 39.
They're at the 39. Had they kicked it out of bounds, the ball would have been on the 35. I mean, this has to get fixed for La Tech, or it's going to be that kind of night.
Now, we knew coming into this game, these are two teams that can light it up through the air. Western Kentucky, 14th in the country. Louisiana Tech, 11th in the country in passing yards.
And defensively, you have to realize when they're high octane, you have to keep things in front of them. We talked about red zone efficiency. You got to actually make them run some plays in the red zone. You can't let them run through it with the ball for touchdowns.
And they're both in the bottom 25 in the country in pass defense. Play action for White. Avoids the rush and throws it over the middle. Deldrick Canty came off the edge to get the quarterback. It'll bring up second down.
Great pressure, and this is the equalizer. If you can get some pressure without adding blitz and extra defenders to the equation, that makes all the difference in the world. Getting off of blocks and getting home puts the offense in a world of hurt.
Canty 2 sacks this year, both in their win. Again, pressure again. White is hammered but gets it away, and that's Taywan Taylor. Taylor's 4th catch of the night, and White is slow to get up.
Beautiful, beautiful play by White. Got a flag on the play.
And it was right where White got leveled by Russell Ferris and Deldrick Canty.
It's what we call a comeback out. And again, the La Tech defender doing a nice job keeping it in front.
Passer, defense number 50. 15 yards will be added to the end of the run. First down.
So the personal foul called, roughing the passer on Deldrick Canty.
Boy, I don't know. I think he got there bang, bang, and I know that second defender gets another hit, but the quarterbacks push into him. I think we're asking too much of these defensive athletes when they're playing at this kind of speed.
Now, even though he hit him with the helmet when he was going down, no targeting called, but they called it for the late hit. On first down, Anthony Wales gets to the 30, and he picks up 7. Ronald Lewis brought him down in the secondary.
Here again, we're talking about Western Kentucky's ability to control the line of scrimmage, run the ball. Wales, 1,000-yard back a year ago, off to that kind of productivity again. If this will, again, wear on these Bulldog defensive linemen.
Quick pass, Nicholas Norris. And enough for a first down. Xavier Woods came up to make the tackle.
Another run-pass option. They had a run play called. White loved the numbers outside, gets it to Norris, easy first down. As a defensive coordinator, you get very impatient watching this because you can't have everybody there. We talked to him yesterday, he said this is cheating, but you have to do it, right? You have to play it.
Lucky for you, you were an offensive guy. White, that's Necarius Fant. Cyril Nolan Lewis making his first start of the season at corner. But another 8-yard gain on first down.
So many weapons. This just a simple hitch. Again, the defender not going to let him over the top. He just sits down on it, takes it easy. But now you're 2nd and 2. You're at their mercy.
Quarterbacks tonight are a combined 18 of 26 for 4 touchdowns. White has Wales behind him. Norris and Taylor both to the near side of your screen. Just enough for Wales to pick up the first down.
Wales on the carry.
Jordan Harris, Russell Ferris.
Using the boxing analogy, that's just a jab. Another chance to get another push on those defensive linemen, wear them out on a hot night, get an easy first down, move the chains, working the body.
And how important is that in the opening quarter of a game like this.
Well, you're exactly right. We've got 3 quarters to go. This is going to be very taxing on all these guys out here having to play this many plays.
White dancing in the pocket, and down he goes. Jordan Bradford, the sophomore out of Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. He's got his first full sack of the season, and that'll bring the first quarter to an end.
As soon as we say they're getting tired, they rise up and say, not so fast. That's a great pass rush.
The sophomore that has surprised the defense brings up 2nd and long, and that's the end of the first. With the score 21-14, Louisiana Tech. You are watching CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Jason Horwitz, Rick Neuheisel, Taylor Rourke's on the field. Happy to have you back with us in Ruston. Louisiana Tech, 3 passing touchdowns from Ryan Higgins. Western Kentucky, not as many yards, Rick, but they've had great field position all night.
Not factored into those yards are the return yards. You put those in there, and what you've got is what we call a track meet.
They have started on the plus side in 2 of their 4 drives. And they're at the 21, but they're facing a 2nd and 17 to open the second quarter.
This drive started on the -39.
White looking to take a shot. Instead, he dumps it off. It's Anthony Wales. And he bailed him out. Jordan Harris brought him down, but that's a huge pickup. They got 12.
There's a great red zone philosophy that says touchdown or check down. He's looking to try. They've going 4 verticals here into the end zone. See if he's got a chance. Nothing there. Take what they give you. Nice check down. Now you're in 3rd and manageable. 3rd down and 4 here. Couple of chances. And don't be surprised if this is 4 down territory right here, given the woes of the field goal team and the nature of this game. Wouldn't be surprised that Jeff's got 2 plays up his sleeve here.
See what they've got on 3rd and 4. Mike White looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Western Kentucky. Taywan Taylor.
Overzealous cornerback right here, trying to make a play on what he thought was a slant route. It just became a slant and return, and beautifully executed by Taywan Taylor. Just stay outside, young man.
Blitz came. Nobody got to Mike White.
Again, remember, we were sitting there talking about opportunities when to play man. Prince Sam was at Houston Baptist last year. They didn't have anybody ran like that at Houston Baptist.
Simcox good, and we are tied again. Western Kentucky struck first. Louisiana Tech 14 unanswered. Western Kentucky strikes back less than a minute into the second quarter.
Exactly what we thought we were going to see. Exactly what we thought we were going to see. Mirror image offenses, high octane offenses, taking advantage of some thin defenses, some chances to put better athletes against the secondaries that they're seeing. As long as they have time and stay ahead of the down and distance, they're in perfect position to do so. Again, like tennis, as a defense, you got to find ways to break serve.
And they did that with their best receiver in school history. Meanwhile, Sunday at 6 Eastern, the world's top riders take the stage in Idaho. The PBR Built Ford Tough Series DeWalt Flex Volt Invitational right here on CBS Sports Network. It's the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Well, in tennis, you usually forget the last game. And you talked about body blows in boxing.
We got all sorts of analogies.
What is your bull riding analogy tonight?
Hang on. 8 seconds, baby. Hang on.
Low kick, and it's fielded at the 10. And they will start that around the 25. Alfred Smith brought it out. How about Ryan Higgins tonight? 5th-year senior out of Texas, 3 touchdowns in the opening quarter.
Well, you love a kid who stays around, doesn't transfer, if he ain't starting, he's departing. He hangs in there, and he's paying dividends right here. We got Henderson 2 times into the end zone. Great crack screen here to Jared Kraft. Just a beautiful effort so far tonight by Ryan Higgins and everybody on that offense.
And you talked about staying around. 2 years ago, Cody Sokol transfers in from Iowa. Louisiana Tech goes on to win the West Division, lose in the Conference USA Championship. Then last year it was Jeff Driscoll. This year it's Higgins' team. Bubble screen to Trent Taylor, and he is drilled. He picked up 5. Keith Brown leveled him.
This isn't necessarily a bubble screen. This is what we call a missile screen because he's coming inside, getting behind offensive linemen, getting down in front of him. When you're bubbling, you're heading towards the sideline. When you're missiling, you're coming towards the quarterback.
And that direction picked up 5. 3rd catch of the night for Trent Taylor.
Spread offenses make it so easy for offensive linemen. They're not sitting there just trying to push people around and protecting people going backwards. They get to go down the field and hit people in space.
Taylor again, that towards the sideline, so that's the bubble screen.
Now there's your bubble. Exactly right. You're learning, my young friend. This is beautiful football. Now it looks easy, and it is, and it looks like it's working, and it is, but as a defense right here, Nick Holt, the defensive coordinator for Western Kentucky, cannot lose patience. You've got to find ways to get down counselors, whether it's a sack, whether it's a stop of a run, and get them to as many 3rd downs as possible. Tackling in space is critical.
Western Kentucky tonight has only forced 1 3rd down.
Here again, Taylor kind of in a stacked alignment, going to work a little dodge route. Another chance to go down the field.
And again, it's Henderson, and he's got it again. 3rd touchdown of the opening half. This one from 63 yards, and Louisiana Tech back in front.
Send out for more dynamite. Send out for more dynamite. It's not normal to be able to hitch twice and be able to throw a deep ball. But White has the arm strength, and Henderson does a nice job of throttling, holding on for the football, and he's beat the DB so badly he can afford to do so. Touchdown, Bulldogs.
Carlos Henderson came into the game with 2 touchdowns. He has bested that in the first 17 minutes. And Louisiana Tech with a 28-21 lead.
That was exactly, you love this excitement. Coming off an injury, gotta be thrilling.
Western Kentucky's defense came into this game giving up 22 points per game, but Rick, their secondary has been torched tonight by Carlos Henderson.
Yeah, there's some miscommunication going on in the back end there. You saw Nick Holt having a conversation with his safety. It just is not coming together back there. Brandon Leston is not in position, whether he's playing cover 2 on the first touchdown, getting over the top of the #1 receiver, or in this last one playing middle high and not getting to the rail to give help to his quarterback.
Kickoffs have been a problem tonight for Louisiana Tech, so they go low again. It's the tight end, Shaquille Johnson, and again they will start close to midfield, out to the 42-yard line. So they're not kicking it deep. They've been burned twice on that, but again, Western Kentucky's got great field position.
Bulldog fans right now are happy because it's 28-21 and they think everything's great. We got a player down.
That's Stevie Donatel, the other tight end with Shaq Johnson that sees playing time for Western Kentucky.
Stevie Donatel's father is Ed Donatel, longtime coach in the NFL. Former defensive coordinator
for the Packers.
The Denver Broncos.
Yep. Currently the secondary coach for the Chicago Bears. Let's take a look, see what happens. Right leg gets rolled up on.
As a coach, you hate this. You know how hard these kids work. You know what kind of hours they put in. And you're looking out there and you're just hoping for the best.
Looked like the left leg got planted in as well after his right leg got rolled up from behind. Looked like the left leg got stuck into the turf. And that's what they're looking at.
As a coach, you just sit and keep your fingers crossed. You know, again, you know what kind of man hours go into this exercise of playing this game, but it is a physical game and things like this happen.
So while they attend to Stevie Donatel on the field, we'll take a break. Louisiana Tech up 7. Western Kentucky training staff continuing to look at Steve Donatel, grad transfer from Wake Forest, tight end who got rolled up on during the kick return. So the offense back out on the field. 5th drive of the night, 3 of them resulting in touchdowns. And a huge stick by Jordan Harris. Nicholas Norris on the carry, but the Bulldogs linebacker making the play.
Jordan Harris is perfectly in position to make this play, running side to side. We call it having tailback eyes, being in the same hole that the tailback is going to end up in. Beautiful job. A transfer from Iowa State.
We've got that all over the field tonight on both sides. Grad transfers, it's not just at the quarterback spot like it is in many places.
One of the moves Skip Holtz decided on was to move him inside. Now you see why.
2nd and 10 for Mike White. This time it's his actual running back, Anthony Wales. And Louisiana Tech stands him up, and again it was Harris first to meet him around his feet. Canty there as well. 3rd and long coming up for Western Kentucky.
A rare 3rd down. You got to take advantage if you're a defense. See if they dial up a pressure.
We talked about this coming into the game. On the season, Louisiana Tech giving up 44% on 3rd down. Last week, 8 of 14 to UTEP. Tonight, Hilltoppers are 5 of 6 on 3rd down. This is 3rd and 9. They bring 5. Dumps it over the middle. Taywan Taylor gets across midfield, but he's short of the 1st down. Cedric Cooper there to bring him down, just about a yard shy of the sticks.
A great job again, coming underneath the zone defense and getting north and south. Understanding where the sticks are and trying to get there. And it looks as if the Hilltoppers are going to stay on the field and go for this.
Yeah, they haven't stopped Louisiana Tech all night. And in particular, Carlos Henderson has 4 catches and 170 yards.
We know Jeff Brom's a riverboat gambler.
Yeah.
First of all, that's where they stayed last night, down in Shreveport. Secondly, he went for it in overtime on the 1st touchdown. Went for 2 to try to win it.
This is 4th and 1 and a timeout taken by Jeff Brom.
If you don't have the exact right play, you absolutely have to use that timeout there. You want to make sure that this is the best play you've got. You're doing it with full confidence, and everybody on that offensive team understands it. There's going to be crowd noise. It can't be a cadence problem. You got to be able to execute.
Well, and they lined up tight. How hard is it for a spread team to line up tight and try to get 1 yard?
Well, what happens is everybody kind of pinches inside, right, trying to take those inside yards away. So what you saw there was motion coming. It may have been another fly sweep. An opportunity to just get outside a defense that's trying to pinch to take away that inside air.
Meanwhile, Blake Baker, 2nd year as defensive coordinator for the Bulldogs. Talked about the trick plays. He knows about it too. What can his defense do on 4th and 1 with the lead here early in the 2nd quarter? Western Kentucky 2 of 6 this year on 4th down.
He's under center.
They fake the fly sweep. They pitch it to Wales, and he's got enough for the 1st, and he lost the ball.
I think the ball hit the ground. We'll see by replay, but I think the ball hit the ground. It's going to be a move the chains opportunity for the Hilltoppers.
Ruled him down, and so they pick up the 1st.
We talked about the fly sweep weapon, and this is the counter to it. Great job up front. Running back understanding what he needs. Doing a great job getting there.
Now, earlier tonight, Western Kentucky was bailed out, lost a fumble, was ruled incomplete pass. It was a Louisiana Tech defensive touchdown. This time, no fumble either. Turns and hands it off to Wales in a huge hole, and Anthony Wales picks up 11 yards. Cedric Cooper chased him down, but he's got 54 yards on 11 carries tonight.
Running behind Forrest Lamp, Brandon Ray. That left side's being awfully productive tonight.
Taywan Taylor, top of the screen on 1st and 10. Pressure comes. Mike White taking a shot himself and just overthrew Taywan Taylor in the end zone.
Mike White wants this one back. He had his receiver. What he ended up doing is fading this ball way too far back over the receiver's shoulder. If he puts it out in front, Taywan Taylor's dancing in the end zone. That's the clap of a man who knows he could have put it a little further inside. I hit a 7-iron when I should have hit an 8.
He was looking deep again. He dumps it off to Anthony Wales, shoved out of bounds at the 29. That's 3 grabs tonight for the running back.
Got a flag here late, some
hit,
extracurricular on the sideline. But we get a chance. I want you to watch the footwork of the quarterback on this last play. This is textbook. This is what you work so hard. Remember, Jeff Brom is an NFL quarterback, played in a lot of places. You're going to watch absolutely perfect footwork as he goes through his read and ends up taking a safety valve swing pattern.
There is no foul on the play. It'll be 3rd down.
Let's take a look exactly at what you were talking about, then the hit.
Yeah, I don't see anything extra there.
He's still in bounds when he gets tackled.
I think they're right to pick it up.
So 3rd down again. White, Wales out of the backfield. He's not gonna get it. Lloyd Grogan, start of the first 4 games at linebacker, was benched. He's a captain, and he just made a huge play on 3rd down.
Huge play, and unfortunately for if you're a defensive coordinator, you'd like to be off the field, but they're going to stay out here and do it again on 4th down. You gotta bow up. This is an opportunity to break serve again.
Well, Skylar Simcox did make a 50-yarder last week against Houston Baptist, which essentially won him the job for this week. This would be from about 46.
You're watching this game like I am, Jason. Field goals aren't going to get it done.
Yeah. So 4th and 2 for Mike White. That's caught. Nicholas Norris with a great grab on the out route and a 1st down for Western Kentucky.
A beautiful throw, right on time. Can't ask for more out of Mike White right here. That is absolutely threading the needle.
Cedric Cooper, converted safety, was in perfect position.
As Carlos Henderson is to the La Tech offense, Nicholas Norris is to this Hilltopper offense.
He and Taywan Taylor, one of the best duos in the country. So they're in the red zone again. And Anthony Wales picks up 8 more.
As you accumulate plays on a drive, as you get into 6, 7, 8 plays on a drive, this is where you start leaning on a defense, and it takes its toll, not only on that particular drive, but it, as I said earlier, will have residual effect later in the game.
Now they had a 10-play drive earlier tonight. They had a 9-play drive tonight. This is the 10th play of this drive. We expected big numbers tonight, and we certainly are getting them. Marquez Trigg comes into the backfield with Mike White. He gets the handoff.
Another third down.
He brought him down.
Another 3rd down opportunity. They're playing just basic zone, which obviously creates less space in the red zone. So Jeff Brom, as he looks out there, is seeing opportunities to run the football. This time, it was the La Tech defensive line that won the down.
Now, they've been able to run the football very well tonight. More than 4 yards per carry. Mike White, 17 of 23. Couple of touchdowns. This is 3rd and 2.
Man coverage.
Hits the slant, and it's off the hands of the receiver. Nakarius Fant, just too tall for the 5'9" wideout. And now do you kick the field goal?
Yeah, you're going to kick the field goal here, but this is another ball Mike White wants back. That ball was just too tall for Nakarius Fant. Listen, Fant did a beautiful job of stalling right there, getting himself open. That ball's got to be on his chest. When you're throwing inside balls with all that traffic, put it on the number so he didn't have to worry about who's coming into his neighborhood.
So this a 26-yard field goal attempt for Skylar Simcox. Transfer from Division III, Emory and Henry College. He bangs it through.
Never a doubt. Never a doubt. So you want to be a coach, huh, Jason?
I never said that.
Holy smokes.
Hey, you take them however you can get them.
Get more dynamite. This thing's far from over.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy. By Advocare. Shop and learn more at advocare.com. And by ServPro, helping make sure your home or business is ready for whatever happens.
In 1973, these two teams played for the Division II National Championship in Sacramento when La Tech beat Western Kentucky 34-0. This tonight, just the 6th meeting between these two. Western Kentucky joined Conference USA in 2014, La Tech in 2013. The Hilltoppers are on a 13-game conference winning streak, trying to tie Southern Miss's record for consecutive Conference USA wins. But they haven't stopped Louisiana Tech tonight. 4 drives, 4 touchdowns.
They haven't stopped Carlos Henderson. They haven't stopped. They've got to figure out a way to get help over the top on that young man.
Another short kick. And again, it's Alfred Smith coming out. And he finally goes down right around the 30-yard line. Now, Carlos Henderson could be in the conversation for tonight, but let's take a look at the Nissan Heisman watch. And Rick, you're looking at Mitch Trubisky from North Carolina.
How about this young man? In the games, he's won game, a late drive against Pitt, 37-35 with a late field goal against Florida State. If he weren't a quarterback, he'd be a polka band leader. I mean, but 860 yards in the last 2 games and 8 touchdown passes. This guy's on fire.
And Saturday, a top 25 matchup in Chapel Hill against Virginia Tech. And later on tonight, the guys in New York will get you up to date on leading Heisman contenders, weigh in on who they think will take home the sport's most coveted trophy. Maybe Greg Ward Jr. in that conversation. Houston will be on CBS Sports Network on Saturday.
Lamar Jackson certainly at the top of the list, but don't count out JT Barrett.
So what does Western Kentucky do to try and stop Carlos Henderson? Higgins taking a shot for him again. And this time one-on-one coverage, and Joe Brown holds his own.
Joe Brown was said, I don't care what he catches in front of you, but he is not going to catch anything behind you. And Joe got the message.
Already tonight, Carlos Henderson, career high 170 yards receiving and a career high 3 touchdowns against Nick Holt's defense. Short pass, Marcus Gaines. And he gets it out to the 40-yard line. Let's go back downstairs to Taylor Rooks.
You guys talked about some of that miscommunication that was going on with the defense. And when Brandon Lustin came back over to the sidelines, Nick Holt pulled him aside and said, you have to be able to cover. You have to take control of the secondary. And Lustin looked at his guys and said, you know what? When I get back out there, that won't happen again. So we'll see how he fares now, guys.
They are going to continue to challenge number 31 in his deep zone because they've had a lot of success. Brandon Lustin's got to find a way to shore things up in the back end.
3rd and 1. They run it with Kraft. He's close to the sticks.
Interesting decision now for Skip Holtz. Again, this is the kind of matchup that you're sitting there going, is this going to be a game that I can afford to be kicking it away? It looks as if he's going to go ahead and punt it here.
Well, and in your tennis analogy, when the other team scores,
it's a break,
and you go 3 and out.
Yep, this is a break. This is a huge turning point in the game when you're playing this kind of seesaw affair, especially when you're going up tempo.
New punter for Louisiana Tech, Logan McPherson. They weren't happy about Gerald Schaus and how he had punted this year, and they've got some confusion with the punt team and a timeout taken by the Bulldogs.
Timeout.
Little confusion right here as to whether or not they were going to punt. So probably some guys on the punt team didn't get out there. So they have to use a timeout. Gives them actually more time to think about what they really want to do. You're going to see Western Kentucky line up in what we call safe punt return, leaving the defense out there but for the punt returner and making sure that they're not caught off guard if they decide to snap it to the up back and get a yard. Here comes the offense.
What would you do?
I'm going for it. This is the kind of game, it doesn't matter if you're giving them an 80-yard field or a 40-yard field. They're going to move the ball. This is about stops in the red zone, and this is about making sure you take advantage when you have the ball. This is a 1-yard game. You're putting it on your offensive front. Let's make this first down, fellas.
So they sent the punt team. They didn't have enough guys out there. Now they bring back the offense. 4 of 6 on 4th down this year.
Wildcat formation.
That's Cam McKnight who takes the snap. And he doesn't get there.
Great job by the Western Kentucky defense. That is just great job.
Deshaun Bertram, first to meet him in the hole.
On your playlist, you always have your 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 calls. And you want to make sure that you're running your best plays. Only Skip Holtz knows if that's a new play or something they've worked on a lot. But obviously it didn't work, and you got to give Nick Holtz's crew a huge amount of credit right there.
So for the 3rd time in this opening half, Western Kentucky starts on the plus side of the 50. Field goal on the last drive. See what Mike White comes up with on this one. Screen pass out to Anthony Wales, and he is ridden in the backfield by Lloyd Grogan. He read it all the way, and that's a loss of 7 on 1st down.
Great job by Brogan, keeping this inside of him, getting outside, making the ball come back inside, then holding on for dear life till his friends get there. Swing screen goes awry.
What did Coach tell us about Lloyd Grogan? Our captain got benched. He didn't pout. He competed. He still played 30 snaps last week, made 7 tackles against UTEP, and his presence felt tonight as well.
Football's about life. Get up, and you get knocked down.
2nd and 16 for White. Fires over the middle, and it's dropped. Nakarius Fant at the 34-yard line had it in his hands.
Using the tennis analogy again, that's an unforced error. You got to make that catch, right? Like wide open, you got a chance to get up there for a 1st down. Now you're in 3rd down and 15. And this is an opportunity here. You can see him coming across, beautifully throwing ball, probably thinking about what he's going to do with it after he catches it. Finish the job.
They started the night 5 of 6 on 3rd down. They missed on their last 3, but they converted 4th downs. This is 3rd and 16. They need the 30.
3-man rush. They're going to cover it back with 8.
White. He's got all kinds of time, and he's got a 1st down. 22-yard pickup, and he went back to Fant.
This is the risk reward of a 3-man pressure, because you're going to let the quarterback count the house. And Mike White has enough experience so he doesn't mind his internal alarm clock going off. He waits for his receiver to come open. 1st down, Hilltoppers.
And after their explosive plays, they go fast, but it's a bad snap. And White has to cover it up back at the 31-yard line.
This drives a coach crazy because you're making plays, you've got them on the ropes, and now you're behind the 8 ball. But you remember, they are going to algebra class. They are going to political science. They do have other things that they're doing.
Yeah, but they're not thinking about it tonight.
No, they're not thinking about it.
1st and 10.
But you don't work on it as much as the things you take for granted sometimes get away from you.
2nd and 17 for Mike White. He's got the completion. That's Lucky Jackson down to the 16, but there's a flag down. Back near the line of scrimmage.
Looks like holding.
Holding. Offense, number 51. 10 yards from the previous spot. Remains 2nd down.
51 is Brandon Ray, who has started every game of his Western Kentucky career at left guard.
You know, for as wild and up-tempo as this game's been with as many explosives, it's been pretty clean. We haven't seen a lot of penalties, but one is one too many for the head coach, I promise you.
Yeah, just 3 penalties tonight.
It's kind of like a lull in the action when they sit over there and look at that sideline. I like the choreographed group. They're all 4 doing a different single. Look like Gladys Knight and the Pips over there.
So the bad snap, the holding penalty at 2nd and 27 for White. Checks it down to Wales, gets some of it back. Picks up 7, so it'll bring up 3rd and about 20 here for Western Kentucky.
You've got a couple thoughts here. Obviously, 20 yards would be wonderful to keep the drive alive, but you'd also like to get a nice little chunk of change here so that you give your field goal kicker a better opportunity, more confidence with a field goal try. Wouldn't be surprised to see screener draw here. 3-man pressure again.
From here, it would be about a 50-yarder. Remember, Simcox hit from 50 last week, but his kick from 26 on the last drive off the uprights and in. This is 3rd and 20.
Goes with 4.
They were looking for a screen, and it's batted down. Darrell Lewis on the blitz, got his hand in the air, and it brings up 4th and 20.
Give Blake Baker, the defensive coordinator for La Tech, a lot of credit there. He gave him a 3-man look and then came with the 4th. Nice little game inside with a twist. Ends up creating a 4th down opportunity.
Well, the offense is staying out on the field for the moment, and now they bring the punt team on.
Imagine being a 33-year-old coordinator when the defense isn't going real well and the head coach standing next to you. Think that's a lot of fun?
And his last name is Holtz.
Oh, my.
And a delay of game. They let the play clock go all the way down to 0. Give some more room for Jake Collins.
Right. Out of range for their field goal kicker, so they're going to back it up here. And you can decline this penalty. Skip Holtz might decide, you know what? Make them see if they can pooch it with a little less room.
And that's exactly what Daniel Gautreaux was asking.
Offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
So again, Western Kentucky, not a whole lot of faith in its kicking game. Simcox did make from 50 last week, but they blew out Houston Baptist. Different story tonight on the road in Ruston.
Wasted opportunity for Western Kentucky with that defensive stop. But again, give credit to these defenses trying to get stops.
Good hang time. The Hilltoppers are there. But they could not keep it out of the end zone.
Broke the plane.
Now, one official dropped his hat at the 1, and they are talking about it right there at the goal line. You cannot step in first and be the first to touch it.
The ruling on the field. The ruling on the field.
They're having communication difficulties down in the field, but what they're going to rule is that the ball crossed the plane in the air. And even though Western Kentucky might have not been in the end zone, although it looks like a foot did end up in the end zone, all that it has to do is break the plane.
Now, the first guy in college, you can bat it back if you did not go into the end zone with your body. The ball can cross, but your feet cannot. But the first guy who touched it was standing in the end zone when he jumped.
Because we are a top flight network, we have that end zone camera, and we showed you that ball broke the plane.
So they're going to look at it.
Tell your mom you're
Louisiana
working
Tech
for a
ball
top
on a 2-minute
flighter.
drill. Jason Horwitz, Coach Rick Neuheisel up in the booth. Taylor Rooks down on the sideline. La Tech up 28-24, 1:49 to go. They have 2 timeouts and the football. The officials talked it over, and again, the guy who touched the ball down at the goal line was standing in the end zone, so that is a touchback. And so they bring it out to the 20 after the punt. Higgins, little wide of Jared Kraft. It'll bring up 2nd down. Coming up, we'll send you to the Verizon halftime report with Adam Zucker, Brian Jones, Houston Nutt, Christian Fourier in our CBS Sports Network studio. They'll talk about this opening half. They'll get you set for the big weekend as well. They'll talk about how much they miss Rick Neuheisel in studio.
Brian Jones is taking my stuff already, I guarantee it. Hey, listen, this is 2-minute now. You've got to be careful. You'd love to go down and score some points, but you do not want to give the ball back to the Hilltoppers before halftime either.
Higgins complete. Carlos Henderson out in space. And Henderson all the way out to the 40-yard line. He picked up 20. Brandon Leston pushed him out.
Jason, I always thought about getting a field goal in these drives, and when I got to the field goal, probably the 25-yard line, then I'd start thinking about touchdown. But as you organize your clock thoughts, you're thinking field goal. You've got 2 timeouts. You want to save one for the field goal team, so you've got 1 to use as you get down to that 25.
Now, in terms of time tonight, La Tech has had 5 drives. None of them have lasted more than 2:08. Time not really an issue for the Bulldogs. 1st and 10. Higgins wide open. It's Trent Taylor across midfield, and they're down to the 44-yard line, and it stops the clock to move the chains.
This is a beautiful concept, just a little high-low route. Henderson comes underneath. The defender jumps him, and you can see Taylor go right in behind him. Higgins reads it perfectly. No hurry here, plenty of time.
5 catches tonight for Trent Taylor. Higgins dancing. Higgins chased, and he throws it out of bounds.
Again, experience at the quarterback position. You know what to do. You get out of the pocket. There is no such thing as intentional grounding once you get outside the pocket, as long as the ball crosses the original line of scrimmage. And it doesn't matter if it crosses it all the way up in aisle 46. Just make sure it crosses it.
I believe you and I are sitting in aisle 46.
Actually, we're in 47. We got the good seats.
It's a huge defensive drive here for Western Kentucky. They got to stop on the last drive on a fourth down.
Not a bad idea to use a screen here. Again, plenty of time, and you've got that timeout in your pocket because you are saving one for the field goal team.
Higgins rolls out and again settles down. He can scramble. He loads and fires for the end zone. Jump ball, and it's knocked down. Carlos Henderson was there, and the man they've been picking on all night, Brandon Leston, beat him for the jump ball.
That's where coaches go, no, 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 and then you come back in the film room. If he caught it, you say, great play. But that's not the kind of play. What he had an opportunity right there to do is take off and run and get themselves closer to the field goal opportunity. Watch all this green grass. This is getting a little greedy. Omarius Bryant, lucky he didn't get flagged right there.
They're down 10.
Not in field goal range yet. Higgins having an enormous first half. And about 8 yards to get in Jonathan Barnes' range. He's got a wide open receiver out of the backfield. And a first down. And a lot more. Cam McKnight down to the 9-yard line.
Plenty of time, plenty of time. Now you're inside the 10. You do not want to spike the ball. You only have 4 downs. So take your time. No need to call timeout here. That way you keep your opportunity to run the football down here as well. 30 stops with the first down. You've got ample opportunity to get all 4 downs here.
Still 50 seconds here on 1st and goal for the Bulldogs. Low snap, the handoff. Burst through the middle.
And it's okay to run it in for a touchdown.
Lost the football. They ruled that a touchdown, but Kraft lost the football right as he approached the goal line.
I think he's across the line. I think he broke the plane. Brilliant drive. And I love the fact that there was no panic getting organized down in that portion of the field.
It's a touchdown.
We're going to have to look at that closer. See if it was getting jostled out of his arm before he crossed that line.
No, he reached that over.
Beautiful drive. Jeff Brom's looking up there and seeing 39 seconds. I can make something happen in 39 seconds. Don't get thinking about popcorn too early.
2 timeouts left for them as well. That drive took 1 minute and 10 for La Tech, and Jared Kraft capped it off with a 10-yard touchdown, and La Tech has its biggest lead of the opening half at 11. Now, college football action continues on Saturday as Greg Ward and the 6th-ranked Houston Cougars hope to take another step towards the college football playoff. They head to Annapolis to take on Navy, 3 Eastern, right here on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Greg Ward Jr. having a remarkable season for the undefeated Cougars. And I think, if it weren't for Lamar Jackson, and I know they lost, we would probably be talking about him right up there, 1 or 2 on the Heisman list.
Well, there's no question, and there's plenty of time left. Remember, he is going to get the same stage with Lamar Jackson later in November on a Thursday night. But J.T. Barrett is having an awesome year. They just haven't had a lot of competition and late-game heroics necessary for him, but that will come as the Big Ten schedule continues to go along. Deshaun Watson still in that conversation. Yep. It's going to be fun to watch.
Clemson plays tomorrow night. Now remember, Western Kentucky won the coin toss and took the football, so La Tech will get the ball to start the second half. And maybe that plays in the decision process for Western Kentucky as well. 2 timeouts, 39 seconds, and an explosive offense.
This play has been X-rated so far tonight for Skip Holtz.
And they pitch it back to Towner. He never went down, but he lost the football. And the Hilltoppers jump on it on the 30-yard line. Towner tonight with returns of 50 and 87, so of course you get it back to him. But fumbles have been a problem for Western Kentucky all season and almost costly there.
All right, we know he made a 50-yarder last week, so we need to get the ball somewhere around the 30-yard line. That means 40 yards. You've got just over 30 seconds. You need to take a chunk play here. Something that's going to gain 20-some-odd yards, hustle down, remembering the clock start, but this is infinitely doable.
Mike White on the night, 20 of 29, very efficient, but shorter plays. Only 144 yards passing here in the opening half. Quick throw, Norris. He's got all kinds of speed, breaks to the outside, gets the first and gets out of bounds. Beautifully designed play, taking advantage of a prevent defense. We hear that term all the time. And what does it prevent? Getting a chance to stop somebody. But obviously, given the time constraints, you're smart to be backed up if you're La Tech. But still, plenty of time to get to the desired range, somewhere around 30, 31, 32 yard line. Yeah, that's just about 30 yards from here. And again, 2 timeouts for the Hilltoppers. Another screen. It's not there. White with the scramble, and he steps out of bounds. Darrell Lewis there to escort him to the sidelines. That took 7 seconds, and they only picked up about 6 yards. A cerebral play by White. When a screen comes apart, you have to remember your offensive linemen are downfield. So you either have to ground the ball or you have to get what you can running the football. And now with only 18 seconds, Rick, how many plays are you realistically looking at? We talked about it when the drive started. You have to get a chunk, something where you're trying to get a ball down the field 20 or plus yards. White's looking for it. He's taking all kinds of time, and that's caught but out of bounds. So again, 7 seconds come off the clock, and they don't go anywhere. More difficult to get now to your desired location using your timeouts. You can call timeout immediately, still with 2 in your pocket. You don't have to worry about if it's a first down or not, because you can't get more than probably 3 plays anyway. But you're going to have to get something down the field here. Maybe get a little closer for a Hail Mary as well. This is an interesting conundrum for a D coordinator. Do you back up or do you want to put more pressure on him, knowing he's got to wait for the receivers to get down the field? They show blitz, they back up, the handoff to Wales, and he's got all kinds of space. Timeout, timeout, and a quick timeout. Anthony Wales picked up the first down. He got to the 40. Still timeout. 4 seconds on the clock.
Western Kentucky, it is their second. It will be 30 seconds.
And so now the question is, well, the last thing you're looking for is a running play right here, so it's understandable that La Tech is not ready for that, but it's well executed. And let me tell you, years ago against Oregon State in a 14-14 game, I had 4 seconds on the clock, and I had timed it at practice that I could throw a quick out into the boundary and get it out of bounds in 3 seconds so I could kick a field goal. So right here, it's a 57-yard field goal. If we can get a 5 to 6 yard quick out because they back up and give it to us, you have an opportunity to get into range for their place kicker who knocked a 50-yarder a week ago. How much do you trust the game clock operator with 4 seconds on that 3-second quick out? Well, you go back to replay, which is what happened in that 14-14 game, and they look at the clock and they come back and say there's 1 second, and then the good news is we made it, 17-14. Kai Forbath, not that I remember it all. Good moment. They're loading up for the end zone, though, here. They're going Butch Jones route. They're going Hail Mary. Jump ball. And caught short of the end zone, out of bounds.
And that's the end of the first half.
White didn't make it to the end zone. Prince Sam escorted him out. And emotions very high at the end of the half. The beautiful job right here by La Tech defenders is they're on the goal line. They're not back in the end zone like we saw a week ago with Georgia against Tennessee. They know that touchdown counts when you get over that line. They're not waiting for it. So they make a play, keep him out of the end zone. Defensive coordinator doesn't like the yards, but he'll take the result. No, yards for La Tech, 341 yards for the Bulldogs in the first half. We said this at the outset. This was going to be an offensive showcase. It was about defenses finding ways to get stops. Very entertaining game thus far. Almost 300 yards passing, 298 for Ryan Higgins. On the other side, Mike White had a couple of touchdowns, but they're down 11. Let's go downstairs. Taylor Rooks with Coach Holtz.
Coach, Higgins and your receiving core is able to get some big plays in the first half. How are you able to get that success offensively?
How are we what? I'm sorry?
How are you able to get that success offensively?
I mean, right now, it's great to have Carlos back. He's been injured the last 2 weeks, and having a little bit of that speed on the opposite side of Trent Taylor. I mean, Trent Taylor's been the go-to guy because we haven't had that speed threat on the other side. And with Carlos back, we're going to make him cover him deep. When they start covering him deep, maybe we'll open some other things up. But that's where we're going to start. We've got to do a better job on defense. We're not getting off the field on defense. I mean, we've given up way too many points for them having to drive the field, and we got to find an answer for our kickoff team.
Now, on the flip side, you gave up some big plays to Western Kentucky special teams. How do you contain them?
Well, I mean, they're dynamic. He's #2 in the country for a reason. We're watching it. We got to do a better job of getting the ball out of his hands, and then we got to challenge our guys to cover it. I mean, you can't kick it out of bounds. You know, I mean, you've got to be able to do a better job with it, and we'll go in there and talk about it and challenge our players for the second half.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Back to you, Jason.
Taylor Ebing, Kylan Towner, who's had a huge first half. But again, Skip Holtz's team is up by 11. 35-24. La Tech at the break. And after this commercial, we'll send you to the Verizon halftime report. Adam Zucker and company standing by in our CBS Sports Network studio. You're watching CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Well, I guess technically it's a school night, but they've been waiting for this game for a while, so, you know, Louisiana Tech wins.
Mama, can I go to the blue out?
Jason Horowitz, Rick Neuheisel, glad to have you back with us here in Ruston. 35-24 at the half. Taylor Rooks back with us in just a sec. By the way, we got our popcorn ready, but they didn't have any. So we got our Bulldog
Tell them how
Crunch.
you got it. Tell them how you got it.
Coach Skip Holtz's wife, Jennifer, gave us some Bulldog Crunch. Rick ate mine. He decided not to bring his.
He tried to sweeten us up, and it worked.
Yeah. All right, first half. We got a shootout like we expected, but Carlos Henderson and the Bulldogs were spectacular.
Carlos Henderson is the difference in this game right now. They saw a weakness in that secondary. Wheaton's got to do a better job of taking his half or taking his third. Right now, there's too many big plays getting behind the Hilltoppers. If it keeps up, they can't win this game.
Yeah, let's take a look at our Geico difference makers, and let's start with Western Kentucky. Kylan Towner had an 87-yard kick return. He had a 50-yard kick return on the opening play of the game, and they led to scores for Western Kentucky.
Skip Holtz said at the end of the half, we can't kick it out of bounds. In fact, had he kicked it out of bounds, they would have had a better average. So they're working on that. That'll be huge this second half.
On the other side, Carlos Henderson, career high, 190 yards, 3 first-half touchdowns.
His mother's going to get this tape and say, look at my son. Look at my son. Carlos Henderson has been outstanding. And you know what? As Skip Holtz said at halftime, they get him back. He was injured. He wasn't in this lineup, and he was nicked up 2 weeks ago.
Against UTEP, take a look at that Louisiana Tech offense in the first half. They had the ball 6 times. They scored 5 touchdowns, Rick.
Well, again, not playing the back end tight. Here he does the rest of the work himself. Breaking tackles, getting down there. Beautiful throw right here. This is what we call a rail shot. Beating cover 2 on that spot right on the sideline, 18 yards deep. Little crack screen right here. Jared Kraft into the end zone. Beautiful job of setting your feet, getting over the top again. There goes that man again, as they like to say. Mr. Henderson to the end zone. How about this one? This is just old-fashioned heave and hope. Terry Bradshaw would be proud of that one, right?
Yeah.
Can only imagine him doing that in the old days.
And the mailman, Carl Malone, is here tonight, and he would have been happy about that airmail. Again, the first half possessions. The only time that they got stopped tonight was on a 4th and 1. Other than that, 5 touchdowns.
The only sad person in the stadium tonight is the punter's mother. She never got to see her son play.
But they're winning.
Fair enough.
That's sad?
Fair enough. Can he get a chance, Coach?
So Louisiana Tech gets the ball to start and bringing it out to open the second half. That is Boston Scott, and he will not get back to the 20. Let's go downstairs. Taylor Rooks.
You know, I talked to Coach Brom coming out of halftime. I said, how do you stop the big play? He said, well, we didn't do it all the first half. That is for sure. He said, my team is really losing confidence. We're a better football team than what we showed in the first half. He said, if you don't come out on the field with that fire, you're going to lose the football game. So he said in the locker room, he tried to give them that confidence back to make sure that secondary is ready to go in the second half.
Important drive for both teams here, Jason. If you're La Tech, you've got a 2-score lead right here. You get a chance to put an exclamation point on that. Remember, you lost a 3-score lead earlier against Middle Tennessee, so there's some urgency on offense. And if you're Western Kentucky, you've got to get them off the field.
Higgins the swing pass to Jared Kraft. Gang tackled by Western Kentucky after a pickup of 4. And you mentioned that Middle Tennessee game. That was 2 weeks ago. They led 27-7 in Murfreesboro midway through that third quarter, lost that game 38-34. And so look, if Nick Holt's defense can get a couple of stops, he knows his offense.
And in the Conference USA race, that gives them no margin for error. That's why they have to get this done today if you're a La Tech player.
Kraft on second down, just a couple of yards, and already a big third down.
Nick Holt's got an opportunity here to serve notice. It's a different half of football. A 3-and-out would be a huge lift to not only Western Kentucky fans, but also to that offense that knows now that they got a defensive team that's part of the bargain.
Trent Taylor in motion. He had 5 catches in the opening half. That one, Henderson, and it's that kind of night. Leston batted the ball, and Henderson grabbed it and a first down for the Bulldogs.
I was just getting ready to admonish Higgins because he had Trent Taylor wide open for the first down. Why is he going over the top? But sometimes it's just your night. Carlos Henderson getting the loose change. See, you could see Taylor right in front of him. I don't know why. And by the way, Taylor averages 150 yards a game. He's pretty good.
He does. They've actually held him in check tonight to 51 yards. Problem is Carlos Henderson's now over 200. There's Taylor. That's his 6th catch of the night. And lowers the shoulder. That is all 5'8", 178, and a late flag comes in. He put that into Joe Brown. And then the emotion afterwards.
These late flags usually go to the sideline that they're on. I'm going to assume this is going to go against Western Kentucky, but we'll wait and see.
Joe Brown is holding on
After
for dear
the play,
life.
unsportsmanlike conduct, defense, number 7. 15 yards will be added
Officials
to the
are
end of the
emotional
run.
too.
That is number 7's first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty towards disqualification.
And remember, 2 unsportsmanlike conducts and you're ejected. Coaches as well this season in college football. But you mentioned during the half that it was a really clean half, Rick. That's just the 3rd penalty on Western Kentucky and only 1 on Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, and the penalties have been kind of late hit stuff, you know, just kids playing really hard. It hasn't been sloppy at the line of scrimmage.
Higgins for Taylor again, and it's through his hands. Leston was there, and again, some extra stuff after the play. This time, no flag. Well, Trent Taylor's dad has connections to both of these schools. His son, obviously, here at La Tech, but Greg Taylor was a linebacker at Western Kentucky in the early 80s when they were a Division II team. And by the looks of it, a little bit bulkier than Trent.
Look at the shoulder pads, but also look at the ball security. You just said he was a linebacker and yet still knows how to tuck the thing away. Trent Taylor certainly knows how to do it as well. Wanted that ball a little lower.
Taylor's got 6 grabs tonight on his career. Now staring at 249. Higgins up top, looking for Henderson, and he overthrew him. Joe Brown back in coverage, and it'll bring up 3rd and 10. And more extracurricular stuff. Players going to the ground. 3 officials at the 25 to break up Omarius Bryant and O'Shea Dugas, the guard and the defensive tackle.
Well, strange on a deep ball that they're that far down the field. We're going to have to watch this, see if we can get a camera. I don't know if we can. That ball is all the way down the field. Skip Holtz told us that they were going to keep trying. Western Kentucky clearly has made an adjustment.
Well,
and I like this. I like that there's no foul. I like if 2 guys are getting after it, the officials are getting it under control, probably getting in both of those kids' ears. No need to be throwing flags. Let's play some football.
And remember what Taylor told us out of the locker room about the fire that Jeff Brom wanted. Here's 3rd and 10. The pressure comes. Higgins got a receiver, sits down in space, and he's close to the first down. That's Alfred Smith right at the sticks.
We pointed out Western Kentucky a couple times in the first half, getting north and south to get first downs. Watch Smith get in here, catches a hook route. Watch him get his shoulders down and get up the field, getting the first down.
They gave him the first down, just his 6th catch of the season, the redshirt freshman.
Beautiful play.
Higgins tonight, 18 of 25, 333 and 4 scores. Kraft again out of the backfield. And Joe Brown made the tackle right around the 25-yard line.
Watch the offensive line on this play. They all are it's like dance team. They're all going down to cut block. The same's going out on the perimeter in the screen. Everybody's going down like cutting wheat, as my old coach used to say.
Did you do that growing up in Arizona?
Never cut wheat. Watched it on television, though.
2nd and 2 for Higgins. The delay to Kraft. The hole opens up, and he's got a first down inside the 10. Jared Kraft into the secondary, and on this opening drive of the 3rd quarter, it's 1st and goal for the Bulldogs.
Carlos Henderson had such a great first half of football there. A decoy allows everybody to run out to try to make a play, and a draw gets in behind him.
Quickly they go, and a late hit there in play. Trent Taylor drilled by Leston, but he's right around the goal line.
Bubble screen. This is where pace gets you. You can feel as you get drive marching on 7, 8, 9 plays, they're going to take advantage. They go quicker. Bubble screen almost to the goal line.
Whew. 1st and goal. 2nd and goal for Louisiana Tech.
Confusion.
Higgins keeps it himself, but doesn't cross the goal line. So now 3rd and goal.
Western Kentucky bowing up right there. Looked as if there was confusion, a defender trying to get from one side of the formation to the other. Look at the wholesale change. Guys are gassed. They're trying to get to a goal line front here. Pure exhaustion. You can see it on Omarius Bryant's face as he's trying to get deep breaths getting into that 4-point stance down there.
3 backs behind Higgins on 3rd and goal. It's McKnight who gets the ball. And still no signal.
Skip Holtz talked to us in his office yesterday about what this formation is called the T-bone. In an effort to try to get some more consistency in the red zone, one of our keys was for them to score touchdowns rather than field goals. But obviously Nick Holt has a plan for it as well.
And they just gave him the touchdown. Talk about a late decision. 20 seconds after the play, a touchdown signal for Cam McKnight.
I'm sure there will be a review, but based on the replay we just looked at, I think they're going to confirm the call.
Take a look at this again. By the way, Keith Brown for Western Kentucky comes out of the pile with the football.
One of the early defenders to that tackle was Ben Holt. Ben Holt, the son of Nick Holt. He couldn't wait to see his boy play tonight.
The previous play is under review. The ruling on the field is a touchdown.
Let's look for the football again here. I think it crosses there, and once it crosses, it gets knocked out of his hands. I believe this is going to be upheld.
Watch the bottom part of your screen here where the football, when he reaches over and it lays on the ground, but it's still in his hand when it comes over the goal line.
He had control on it. I think he's putting it almost on his teammate's helmet there.
But was it coming out before any part of the ball crossed the goal line? That's the question.
Well, we've already determined my eyes are old, but my eyes would tell you that that's a touchdown.
I mean, you batted 50% in the first half, right? So you're successful, right? Baseball playoffs, 50%, 500.
Exactly, and as I've watched replays in my lifetime over the last few years in this role as an analyst or a commentator, I'm about 50%. But I'm going to go out on a limb again and call that touchdown La Tech.
Now the other question, and there's no way to tell it there.
Remember, the ruling on the field is a touchdown. They're going to have to find something that says it's not. I don't think it's there.
What a big touchdown this would be. The longest drive for La Tech tonight. 5 minutes and change. Now let's find out what the final decision is.
Hate to talk about what ifs.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
Hate to talk about what ifs, but remember that third down where he gave up the wide open Trent Taylor to go to Henderson. Ball gets knocked down by the defender, but falls right into the hands of Henderson. Those are the things you look back on as a coach and go, what do we got to coach differently? What do we got to do differently? But this game's far from over.
Jonathan Barnes on for his 6th extra point of the night. And he drills it through. An opening 12-play, 84-yard drive for La Tech out of the locker rooms. And the Bulldogs, thanks to Cam McKnight, extend their lead to 18 against the defending Conference USA champs. Jason Horwitz, Rick Neuheisel, Taylor Rooks back with you in Ruston as we check in with our Chick-fil-A fan cam. Jimmy Buffett fans here in Ruston.
Fins to the left, fins to the right.
Fins in the end zone. Having a good night here. The blue out, a lot of kids, good student section here tonight.
It is great to be back in a college environment, college stadium. Band of pride out there entertaining at halftime. Fabulous. Carl Malone down there enjoying the sound.
We had a marriage proposal.
We got
at halftime as well. She accepted, by the way. 42-24, and they've got to keep it away from Kylan Towner.
See what adjustments were made at halftime.
Yeah, it doesn't go to Towner. It's his running mate, and he is drilled.
Euphoria erupts on the
Stephen Brown hammered
sideline
at the 17. So Jeff Brom went into the locker room. His team was down 35-24. He said, we got to play with fire. We are better than this. Now what do they do?
Well, they've been here before. This is an explosive operation. We saw it with our own eyes to start the game. This is just going back to fundamentals, making the plays, but it's about not going backwards. They can't get behind the down and distance. La Tech made more plays to create negative yardage in the first half.
They've been riding Anthony Wales, and he gets out to the 22. Now the ball came out as well. La Tech says they've got it, and they do. First turnover of the night, and it's on the first play for Western Kentucky in the second half.
This is where you can see the body language of Western Kentucky right now. This is where they need leadership within the team. Jeff Brom can say all he wants. The coaches can say all they want. This is where they need leadership within the team. Somebody's going to grab somebody's face mask and say, we aren't letting them in. We are not letting this get away from us right now. Because if that doesn't happen, this is getting ready to be a tidal wave.
That is now 12 fumbles for Western Kentucky, including tonight, in 4.5 games. That's the second one they've had tonight. They lost that one. They recovered one in the first half. It's an epidemic.
We talked in the first half about break and serve. That's a break one play. This defense has got to really man up right here.
So back out on the field after a 5-minute drive. Here comes Higgins. Finds Trent Taylor, gets it down to the 14-yard line. That is 8 catches tonight for Trent Taylor. LeVerick Johnson around the ankles.
That is their staple play. They got Trent Taylor on a dodge on one side. On the other side, they've got Henderson deep. Here they go up tempo again. They've got him down in the red zone. The swing screen to Taylor, earning more yards. Thing of beauty right now.
Trent Taylor had 10 catches for 121 against UTEP. He's got 9 now, and they've got first and goal up by 18. The handoff to Jared Kraft. Western Kentucky stands him up at the 6. Omarius Bryant there at the bottom of the pond.
Trying to take advantage of a fatigued defensive front. You can see these guys getting off the ground slower and slower. Here they come at the line of scrimmage again.
Higgins looking for his 5th touchdown pass, and it's off the shoulder pass to Taylor, and flags fly.
Boy, I didn't see it. I want to see it on the replay, but I think Western Kentucky got flagged for something that didn't happen. Let's see it.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 31. The penalty will be enforced, has it to the goal. First down.
That is Brandon Leston, who was having a rough night. He is a good safety, and he is having a rough night.
Well, they're targeting him. They saw something on film that they liked their matchup. There it is. Was not interference. I think we both thought it was interference, but certainly got a hold of that face mask.
So half the distance, but instead of 3rd down and goal, it's 1st and goal at the 3. Higgins, the draw to Kraft. Holt brought him down, and then David Mahaffey landed on top of him, his own center. So it'll bring up second and goal.
Nick Holt in 2008 was the defensive coordinator for USC. I was coaching at UCLA. Our sons played on the same high school team. Ben was just a kid at the time. It's fun to see him play in major college football.
Tonight's Red Zone is brought to you by Verizon. 3 trips, 3 touchdowns. It's efficient. Here comes the T-bone package again. This time, Higgins keeps it. The throw to Kraft. Touchdown, La Tech. Ryan Higgins, his 5th touchdown pass of the night. And the Bulldogs are steamrolling the Hilltoppers here in Ruston.
They caught him nibbling on the T-bone. And they slipped him out to the flat. Beautiful job.
Haven't you? Since yesterday when they told you about the T-bone.
I was working on that all night. We're not going to have fun up here. What are we going to have?
Bulldog crunch.
By the way, Jennifer, we need more. We ran out. Great night for La Tech.
Jonathan Barnes, perfect on the season. Stays that way. 49 on the board for the Bulldogs. Their biggest offensive night of the season, and it's coming in their biggest conference game so far of the season. Saturday, the Home Depot SEC on CBS rocks with the best game from the best conference. This time, Joshua Dobbs and the Tennessee Volunteers take on Trevor Knight and the Aggies of Texas A&M. It's a battle of top 10 teams, and the hoopla begins with Auto Trader College Football today. Tennessee on CBS, Rick, for a 3rd straight week. The comeback against Florida. Last week, the Hail Mary to beat Georgia. What are you expecting in studio this week?
More of the same. I mean, goodness. How about Tennessee? They're the cardiac kids. They were getting absolutely shellacked by Florida, came roaring back in that game, and then won for the ages last week in Athens.
Back here in Ruston, Anthony Wales, the fumble for Western Kentucky, the first turnover of the game. And on the right, Jared Kraft, who now has 2 receiving touchdowns out of the backfield. He's also run for 1, and it's 49-24.
Usually a good sign when you have 2 players on your team, each with 3 touchdowns in a contest. Usually a good sign. Wales and that Western Kentucky Hilltoppers are not done, though. There's a lot of pride in that program.
They have certainly made the adjustment. No chance Towner is touching it. That is the up man and the tight end, Stevie Donatel. Let's go to our New York studio for an Advocare update with Adam Zucker.
All right, Jason, thank you. A number of games already affected by Hurricane Matthew as it approaches the East Coast, including LSU at Florida, postponed with no makeup date determined. Georgia and South Carolina has been moved to Sunday. All the latest on Inside College Football after the game. And make sure you send Rick back to the studio, please.
I don't know that I'm going to be able to get him. But on Hurricane Matthew, by the way, 1 game in Conference USA also affected. Florida Atlantic set to play Charlotte, that in Boca. That game, at least for now, scheduled for Sunday. But that is not certainly permanent. And we wish everybody a lot of safety.
Keep everybody safe. Our thoughts with everybody affected.
So Mike White out of the...
Good drive starter right here. Mike White hitting his guy, Taywan Taylor,
who is still down
on the field.
The all-time leading receiver in Western Kentucky history. And top 10 across the board in college football this year. And let's see what happened.
This is what we call a second window. You saw the defender come out trying to take away that hitch, so he has to wait for him to get into the second window. Gave Sam a chance to close. See what the complication is.
Training staff looking at his right ankle. Now, Taywan Taylor has had a night tonight, too. 7 catches, 53 yards.
We started the show talking about what he meant to this offense, the over-the-top threat, averaging over 18 yards a catch. 1,700-yard receiver a year ago. Fabulous player.
And 17 touchdowns last year, which was second in the country. They'll continue to check on Taywan Taylor. We'll come back to Ruston. Taywan Taylor walked off under his own power and trying to shake it off on the sideline. Second down for Western Kentucky out of the break. That is Quentin Baker with his first carry of the night. True freshman out of Ashland, Kentucky. brought down by Xavier Woods.
Going back to what they started with, a little run pass option. This time Mike White decides to give it off to the running back, had his screen outside. Little cat and mouse game going against that defense.
And remember, Anthony Wales had the fumble on the last drive. We'll see if he comes back on the field in this game. That has been such a big problem for them all season. Play action for White. Finds the out route. It's caught by Nakarius Fant. Past the sticks. And a first down for Western Kentucky. And Rick, remember what's on the line tonight. Western Kentucky, the defending Conference USA champs, who went undefeated last year in conference and then beat Southern Miss in the conference championship game, have not lost a conference game since they lost here.
That's not lost on Jeff Brom right there. He's trying to muster up some sort of drive right here for two things. One, to get points. Two, to give his defense a rest. That's a big-time throw by White right there. Wide side out route. That's what pro scouts are looking for.
It's Baker again up the middle. Quentin Baker down to the 31.
Curious why they're not working that left side a little more. We knew what Forrest Lamp would mean returning to the lineup as the left tackle. Brandon Ray, an experienced guy. You already pointed that out. It's been pretty consistent money over there on that left side.
But your point's well taken about the fact that their defense has been on the field what seems like all night. White loading up. He is wide open. Nicholas Norris in the end zone. So much for the running game. Touchdown strike from 31 yards out.
Well, Xavier Woods is a fantastic player, but he got confused here. We're going to have to figure out why. He thinks there's help behind him. You can see him dropping, and he lets Norris just go right by him and gave that look, like that the worst look you can see as a coach, like, what happened?
Second touchdown of the night for Nicholas Norris. Simcox on. Extra point is good. And 49-31, Louisiana Tech leads down to 18.
Challenging the pride of the Hilltoppers is not the way to win this game. You're going to have to play to the very last whistle.
Sunday, the NFL on CBS throws down a big-time doubleheader. First, it's the Jets coming off the loss, taking on the Steelers, while Tom Brady returns and the Patriots take on the Browns. Then the Bengals battle with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. Check your local listings, beginning with JB, Boomer, Tony, Coach, and Bart on the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines. 6 players from these two schools drafted this past year's draft. Brandon Doughty, Jeff Driscoll, both quarterbacks. And how about Kenneth Dixon, who the Ravens are excited about?
Well, absolutely. These kids are all very talented players, and it's a misnomer to think that there's not great football played in the group of 5. Conference USA has a host of great players. The issue is depth. And that's why as you get later into games, there aren't as many of these frontline players, and that's why time of possession becomes critical as we get late.
Ranella's kickoff down to the 3. And coming out is Alfred Smith. And he is drilled right around the 23-yard line. Well, Louisiana Tech about to come back out here. And Ryan Higgins came into this season after waiting behind Cody Sokol, waiting behind Jeff Driscoll, graduate transfers that had came to play for Skip Holtz. He missed the opening game because he had a DWI in August. Jamar Smith played well. They only lost at Arkansas by 1. And he has been phenomenal since then for Louisiana Tech.
Just a great story. You love a kid that stays at his place, and that's not to knock kids that are transferring, but that stay there, learn, keep getting better, stay with their teammates, and then find a way to get on the field in their final year.
Career high 5 touchdowns tonight, and that is catch number 10 for Trent Taylor. Back-to-back games with 10 catches for what is now the second leading receiver in college football. That's 63 catches through 5.5 games.
Run pass option right there. They get inside leverage with him. His hands are like glue. Surefire pass catch. Dressing up that 3-by-1. Here he goes. He's going to work that little dodge route. Now they got to run.
That's Boston Scott. Drilled Joel Iyiegbuniwe. But he got enough for the first down.
They call Iyiegbuniwe Iggy, which you can understand why.
I mean, it's just like it's spelled. Iyiegbuniwe. Iebuniwe.
I mentioned earlier that he's a 3.6 student. Great, great young man. Came into the game with 3.5 sacks. Years ago, I was recruiting. Went to a place in Anchorage, Alaska for a kid named Tui Ala Ile Falaula. I practiced hard to get that one, too.
First and 10 for Ryan Higgins. We know he can scramble, and he gets out close to the 45-yard line.
You know,
how'd you do, by the way, when you got to the house in Anchorage, Alaska?
I asked Mrs. Tui Ala Ile Falaula, was it okay for, she said, call me Rose. I never gave somebody such a big hug. You know, we asked Skip Holtz, we asked him about, you know, is he looking for one of these B-button quarterbacks, these fast guys like Lamar Jackson, like Jalen Hurts now that Nick Saban's playing with at Alabama. He says, this kid, although he doesn't look the part, is an unbelievable athlete. There you see it on evidence. They were not building quarterback runs per se, but they count on him to make some first downs with his legs.
Yeah, he's got 23 yards tonight on 6 carries. He's got 3 on the play clock. We have not seen that at all tonight. And a pitch out to Boston Scott. A flag flies. Scott's got 8 yards. But again, a flag back by the line of scrimmage.
Probably a hold from behind or potentially a chop block, because it threw it at the left tackle who was on the ground. We'll see what they call.
Personal foul, chop block, offense, number 55 and 75. 15 yards from the previous spot, remains first down.
David Mahaffey and Darryl Brown. Let's go back downstairs. More on Ryan Higgins with Taylor Rooks.
Hey, thanks, guys. You know, Todd Fitch, the offensive coordinator, said players follow people who actually know what they're doing. And he pointed to Ryan Higgins with that. He said Higgins knows what he's doing. He has true command of the offense. He got into some legal trouble during his time here, as well as battling some injuries. But the coaches say that if anything, that's made him appreciate the game more. Said he knows that this is his last go-round, and a good sense of urgency comes with that.
And Taylor, he's got Boston Scott on the screen pass, again on the swing pass. And that's the other aspect of this. One of the things that they told us when we met with all of them yesterday was that he almost beat out Jeff Driscoll for the job last year.
It was tooth and nail, then he got hurt, right? He had mono, he got a little elbow tendonitis, things that kept him from practicing as they got closer to game time, and then Driscoll got the ball and ended up throwing for 4,300 yards. It worked out for both of them.
And gets drafted. Who's to say Ryan Higgins might not get drafted as well?
Driscoll's now with the Bengals. Was drafted by the Niners, didn't work out. I guess he's been signed by the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep. Third string behind Andy Dalton and A.J. McCarron. 2nd and 18. Here comes Higgins again. He's got a wide open receiver. Guess who? Carlos Henderson.
This is the next step in the progression. You've been going deep, you've been going deep. That kid's been told, no way am I getting beat deep, so now you run the comeback out. It's beautifully done. You can see the guy's already turned his hips. Now they got to convert on 3rd and 1.
Yeah, he picked up 15. Henderson now 7 catches and a career-high 219 to go with 3 of Ryan Higgins' 5 touchdown passes. They told us they missed his speed on Saturday when they beat UTEP 28-7. They've seen it tonight. It's 3rd and 1.
Bear coverage, they're going to play man. They're coming after it. Nick Holtz says this is a down, I got to win.
Quarterback draw, and Higgins has the first down and more. Ryan Higgins inside the Western Kentucky 40, and a late flag, and I wonder if this is targeting.
We're going to have to wait and see. We said there weren't a lot of quarterback runs. This was time to pull one out. This gets the numbers even. You try to +1 the box as a defensive coordinator, add an extra guy. By making your running back a blocker, you even up the math.
Personal foul, targeting, defense, number 7. The previous play is under review.
Now remember, all plays, all targeting calls are looked at. All plays in college football are looked at, but all targeting calls specifically. Joe Brown, watch him at the end of this run by Ryan Higgins. Yes, Higgins is going down, but watch Brown lead with the crown of his helmet.
Yeah, this is going to meet the criteria because he went with his head. He went and with the crown of his helmet. That's, you know, we're trying to keep kids safe. The Rules Committee is wanting this to be a safe game. Young people want to encourage them to keep participating in the great game of football. You've got to make sure moms and dads feel safe about their kids playing. Take a look at the targeting rule here. Forcible contact with the crown of the helmet. I think that's what we saw right there on that particular play.
Right.
Now, he's not necessarily a defenseless opponent because he's running with the football. So we'll wait and see.
And he didn't give himself up either, by the way.
Right, exactly. So we'll wait and see. But
it's that first
it's certainly
one.
in the gray area.
It's that first one. You can't lead with the crown of your helmet, whether you hit your chest, shoulder.
Leading with your head and neck area of opponent, too.
Something else to remember, too, Rick, here.
What I struggle with,
Jason,
Jason,
second half means he would miss the first half of their game next week, and they play at Middle Tennessee, the team that they are competing for in Conference USA's East Division.
What I struggle with in this rule, and I'm a proponent of safety as much as the next guy, I absolutely believe in it. When the contact occurs below the waist, as that just did, and people are committing to making a tackle and they're trying to get low, it's hard to get your arms in front of everything. Sometimes the first contact will be your head. Let's hear what he has to say.
After review, the ruling on the field for targeting is confirmed. Number 7 is disqualified.
So Joe Brown is disqualified for the second half, the rest of this second half, and he will miss the first half next week when they play at Middle Tennessee in what is expected to be the battle for the Conference USA East Division. And remember, he's one of their 2 starting quarterbacks on a secondary that has just been torched, and Middle Tennessee's offense is just as high-powered as Louisiana Tech.
It's a tough pill to swallow, especially when you sold out on that particular down. I mentioned they got into Bear. That's covering both guards and the center, trying to come out, playing man defense, trying to +1 the box, and quarterback draw won the chess game.
So they are answering the Western Kentucky touchdown. Trent Taylor drilled. Jawan Gardner hit him with the shoulder, and the helmet came off, so he'll have to come out for a play.
He'll have to come out for a play, but that is a tough football player.
What did Coach Skip Holtz tell us yesterday about Trent Taylor? Yes, he's 5'8". He's not an overachiever. He's an over-competitor.
Yep, exactly right. I watched him in the here you go. How about this as a 1-2 punch? 11 catches, 97. That's your guy you're going to make first downs with. The other guy, 7 for 219, Carlos Henderson. That's called a home run hitter.
Yeah, quick math. That's 316 on 18 catches. Back to Boston Scott on the ground. And flags again by the line of scrimmage.
What had been so clean a game now starting to get a little sloppy interior-wise. Probably a hold.
Holding. Offense, number 62. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Remains second down.
Joseph Brunson, the 3rd penalty called on Louisiana Tech.
This is frustrating for a coordinator. You've got your plays, you're in rhythm, and now you got to go back to trying to catch up with the down and distance. Todd Fitch, I think, has done an unbelievable job. He knew what he wanted. He liked his matchups. He's exploited the matchups. Now that he's got them backing up, he's got some things out in front. A great job, though, by Fitch thus far.
Todd Fitch, offensive coordinator.
Tied at the hip with Skip Holtz now. They've worked a long time together at a lot of places.
And rejoined for this year here in Ruston. Higgins in front of Carlos Henderson.
Higgins cannot believe that Henderson stopped. We're going to watch this again. And for whatever reason, Carlos Henderson stopped.
You talked about Todd at the hip, Todd Fitch and Skip Holtz. Skip Holtz gave him that first opportunity when he became the head coach at UConn back in 1994, and he told us, Earl Bruce called me and said, this guy will be your best coach. Hire him.
And he said he had no money. All he had was a restricted earnings coach spot for him, and he said he'll take it, and by a year from now, he'll be your best guy. And he called him back a year later. It was the truth.
It's now the 5th school that they have been together. Higgins on the rollout. And he had Elford Smith in the area, but it's out of bounds, so 3rd and 13.
Probably a wise decision. I think he had a chance to complete that pass, but he was under duress, and just to get it out of his hands was the correct move. Going back to that play, just a little, Henderson is probably in the end zone again, but it just didn't work out. You see Higgins limping off. Wait and see if that impacts the rest of the game. You can see Coach Holtz talking to him about stopping on that post route.
So Jonathan Barnes on for a 43-yard field goal attempt. He has made 7 straight. Make it 8 in a row. La Tech up by 3 full touchdowns with 44 seconds to go in the 3rd.
Meaningful points right there to get it back to 21.
Well, at a school that has had some great kickers, Josh Scobie, Matt Stover, Chris Bonio, all NFL kickers, Jonathan Barnes is getting closer to the top, 7th all time in La Tech history and made field goals. That was number 43 for his career. And 52 tonight against Western Kentucky. And remember, this is a Western Kentucky defense. They're missing starters, but they came into this game only giving up 22 points per game.
Absolutely. And remember, one of their games was against Alabama.
Yeah.
So this is a defense that's got a lot of pride. But again, we talked about the mirror image nature of these two teams offensively. They have great skill outside. 4 of the best receivers, most productive receivers in Conference USA a year ago are on the field tonight, and they know what to do. Their body language speaks to the quarterbacks. They know where to go. We saw that break down a little bit with Henderson stopping on the post route right there, but this is brilliant pass offense we're watching tonight.
Again, it's to the up man, Steve Donatel. They are not getting anywhere close to Kylan Towner, and Donatel down at the 34-yard line. Now they're still working on Ryan Higgins, who was limping off. As we take a look at tonight's quarterback profile, brought to you by Sonic. Higgins has been spectacular. 406 yards. He has thrown for 500 this season. Mike White threw for 517 in the opener against Rice on CBS Sports Network. But White's been efficient, but his plays have been short. Higgins has had the deep ball.
Well, White started with so many short fields, and then obviously the turnover here at the beginning of the second half also kept him from getting his drive.
So down 3 touchdowns. White back to work. He floated that one to Nakarius Fant. Brandon Durman with the tackle.
Single receiver side, taking advantage of a high safety. Beautiful job. Here you see the quarterback getting worked on. It looked as he looked at the trainer, he was trying to show him when I twisted, it's when it happened.
And remember, he
probably a groin issue.
Came into this game a little banged up with the groin as well. And a short week, they played on Saturday. But he has been outstanding. White over the middle, it's Fant again. Down to the 35-yard line. Ronald Lewis in coverage, but Nakarius Fant, a couple of catches, and Western Kentucky, it's a high explosive offense. They're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. Too much pride in this program. They will be back. This is going to be a wild 4th quarter.
It's the end of the 3rd quarter. La Tech's up 52-31 here on CBS Sports Network. (52-31) at the start of the 4th quarter. Jason Horowitz, Rick Neuheisel, Taylor Rooks as we take a look at the Bud Light game summary. 406 yards passing for Ryan Higgins tonight. We start the 4th with Mike White trying to come back from a 21-point deficit. And that's the backup running back, Quentin Baker. We have not seen Anthony Wales back on the field since he fumbled on the first offensive play for Western Kentucky in the 3rd quarter.
They're sending a little bit of a message there, you think. Blake Baker's doing a nice job here, keeping things in front of him. But White is mature enough as a quarterback when things aren't available down the field just to drop it off. He takes advantage right there. Pressure.
Middle of the field's open. And Nicholas Norris gets down at the 8. Xavier Woods was over the top in coverage.
This is where you ask yourself, is Blake Baker, as the defensive coordinator for La Tech, you're darned if you do, darned if you don't. You stay back, they play underneath, they get the first down. Now you come after them with a little pressure off the edge, and they sit in there and make a play. Well-oiled machine, this Western Kentucky Hilltopper offense.
They're going to have to be here in the 4th to try and come back. White for the post. One-handed grab. Taywan Taylor holding it in with his right arm.
Look, Mom, one hand. Listen, this offense, we knew this team was not going away. You don't win 13 in a row doing it that without having some competitor, some guys that understand what it takes to overcome some adversity. And now it's La Tech's turn to answer the bell.
His second touchdown grab of the night, and it's a beauty. Simcox on for the extra point, and 55 seconds into the fourth, it's back to a 2-score game. But how about the play from Western Kentucky's all-time leading receiver?
Quarterbacks love one-on-one. They get their matchup. They like their matchup. They're going to take advantage of it. Taywan Taylor against anybody. That's the feeling on the Western Kentucky sideline. Here he gets an edge. His arm's being pinned. It's textbook play by the La Tech corner there. Textbook play trying to pin that inside arm. Taylor says, I don't need it. I can grab it with this other one.
Rick, if you're wondering what's the largest comeback in Western Kentucky football history, and I know you are, it's 17.
Curious minds want to know.
Yeah, 17, and they've done it 4 times. So tonight, can they make this a game? Can they get off the field against La Tech? They've only done it on 1 drive tonight.
Anybody who's watched college football this fall knows that these things can happen. We saw a 22-point deficit overcome when Florida State came back against Ole Miss. Alabama did the same, being down 21. Tennessee then did that to Florida.
Yep.
I mean, it's on and on and on. So you've got to play all 60 minutes. This puts Louisiana Tech in a little conundrum because you're an up-tempo team, but you'd like to get rid of some of this clock. But I think you have to dance with who brung you. You've got to be your offense. You've got to be aggressive and not be afraid to throw the ball. We've got to see how Higgins is when he comes back on the field of play.
Alfred Smith out to the 25. He was brought down by Deshaun Bertram. But again, you asked at halftime about time of possession. Louisiana Tech first half had the ball for 12 minutes. And
quick strike.
Had the lead, 35-24.
Quick strike.
They had the ball for 12 minutes in the third quarter. So on this hot night, remember, it's been 90 degrees all week here in Louisiana. It was 91 degrees today. It was 85 at kickoff. It is hot. They were on the field, and they built their lead.
This is critical that they stay on the field. Not necessarily that they get points, but they stay on the field and give that defense a little blow.
Higgins. Back to Trent Taylor, why not?
Run, pass option. You have defensive coordinators out there pulling their hair out, trying to figure out how to do it all. There aren't enough white shirts out there to get it all covered.
He pulled it out a while ago.
Yeah, he pulled it all out. Oh, this guy lacks very little in the way of intensity.
Yeah.
If he ever wants to stop coaching, he can get a job as the new Mr. Clean.
12 grabs for Trent Taylor. Carlos Henderson has 7. They've combined for 324 yards receiving. It's 2nd and 2. The run to Jared Kraft. He's had a great night, and he's got a big play. Another explosive run. Kraft down to the 37. A pickup of 30 for La Tech.
Huge play for the Bulldogs. If they could find a way to get a running game, a consistent running game here in the fourth quarter, it would solve 2 issues. 1, keeping the ball away from Western Kentucky, and 2, salting this game away.
And Skip Holtz, when we talked to him yesterday, he said, look, what was big for us against UTEP? We ran the clock out in the fourth quarter. We built an 8-minute drive to end the game, and we did it on the ground.
Yeah, spread offenses have a hard time running what we call 4-minute offense, which is basically bleeding the clock. Have a hard time doing it. It's not their DNA.
Kraft gets the carry again, this time wrapped up. Masai White, remember getting the start for TJ McCollum.
That's a nice play by Masai White right there. He doesn't make the play. That guy's into the secondary again. Kraft is into the secondary, and it's another huge play. 1-yard gains make defensive coordinators smile. Now they get to pull some of the weaponry out of their holster.
Can't really give up too much more field position here either, by the way, because a field goal once again makes it a 3-possession game.
And this is where Jeff Brom, who's an offensive guy, offensive coordinator, calling the plays, probably looking at his chart for the next drive. This is where he gets in his ear and says, take some shots, because for us to get back into this game, we're going to need the ball back.
Can't give up any more points either. It's Kraft, and they're right up the middle.
Perfect example of it. Nice little zone pressure to stop the run.
Keith Brown led the charge. Have not called his name very much tonight, but Keith Brown right there.
You see that little twist inside. We call it games inside, twists, loops. two-man games or twists, usually hear terms like ears and thumbs telling the end to go first or the tackle to go first. Loops are more three-man games.
Is this 2 plays for La Tech? Are they in 4-down territory?
I don't think they can afford to do that. I think with a 2-score lead, they probably have to punt the ball and try to make them go along field, depending on, again, where this ball ends up. If you get it to 4th and 1, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's 3rd and 8, pressure up the middle. Higgins stays in the pocket, but he's behind Carlos Henderson.
Again, 2 players not on the same page. You can see the aggravation in Ryan Higgins. He thinks the guy's coming out of that route, going to sit down, go for the sticks. Henderson thinking he's got to go over the top. The ball's being thrown right up.
Jonathan Barnes, after that 3rd down play, is on for the field goal. This would make it a 3-possession game. Now his career long is 49. This is a 54-yarder for Barnes.
Plenty enough distance.
And knocks it through off the upright.
Wow.
54 for Jonathan Barnes. And La Tech is back up by 17.
Big man on campus again. I tell you what, that's a remarkable kick. Finishing that drive, making it a 3-score game, huge momentum turn.
The career long. And the post was friendly here in Ruston. Tomorrow night at 9 Eastern, CBS Sports Network brings you more college football action when star running back Jeremy McNichols and 19th-ranked Boise State travels to Albuquerque to take on New Mexico, only on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Carter Blackburn, Aaron Taylor, Jenny Dell will be in Albuquerque. Jeremy McNichols, 9th in the country in rushing yards per game. They've only played 4.
Brian Harsin does a great job at Boise, but how about Bob Davie? Yeah, former Notre Dame coach, been up in the booth and goes back on the sideline. They've got an unbelievable pistol attack there in Albuquerque.
Was Aaron Taylor's coach, if I'm not mistaken?
I think he was.
This time it does get to Towner.
You talk about halftime adjustments.
Yeah.
This kickoff team is getting it done. That's a sign of great coaching. You know, Skip Holtz is a great coach. We talked about his run at back when Connecticut was in the FCS, then the 1AA. Then he gets a chance to go to East Carolina, does a nice job there, gets a chance to go to South Florida. And at South Florida, won games against Notre Dame, won a bowl game against Clemson. But patience wore thin. They got rid of him after 3 years. But you know what? Very happy, very content. Thrilled about this football team.
And 9 wins 2 years ago. Got to Conference USA's championship game. 9 wins last year. Back-to-back bowl wins. It's never happened in Louisiana Tech history. But they're hoping to get to a 3rd one here, and they are having a huge night on offense. 1st down play picks up 4 yards from Mike White.
A little more desperation right now if you're Western Kentucky, because now it's a 3-score game. You have to be in clock offense. You have to go up and down the field, and you're going to, as Jeff Brom, you're going to tell Nick Holt now you got to take more chances defensively.
Yep. And they've got to take some shots down the field offensively, too.
Absolutely. And for Blake Baker, it's make sure everything stays in front of you. Everything stays in front of you.
Here comes one of those shots. White, he's got Fant, and he crosses midfield. 18-yard pickup.
It's what we call a layer route. You know, when you basically puncture the defense with the ball going down the sideline and then bring somebody on an over route to take advantage of the vacated space. Fant doing it beautifully.
13-game conference winning streak on the line for Western Kentucky. Huge hole in the 4th. Again, it's Baker. And he's wrapped up right around the line of scrimmage. Jordan Harris brought him down.
As a play caller, you want to stay balanced. You want to stay in rhythm. But you got to keep your eye on that clock, because you don't just need 2 touchdowns now. You need 3 scores. Pocket holds. White fires. It's low, but it's caught.
Nicholas Norris comes up with his 9th grab.
That is a great play by Nick Norris. Let me say this. That is what Trent Taylor does for La Tech. That just finding a way. The quarterback sees him open. White throws what we call a back shoulder. He goes down to the ground, makes the catch. That is big-time college football.
Bump down to Baker. Gets to the 28. To Marion King. Safety brought him down.
And while it's a positive play for Western Kentucky, it's also a positive play for Blake Baker because he's making him throw it in front. The clock is ticking away. Now he wants to bow up and hold him to a field goal because remember, 3 scores. You don't have to score the 2 touchdowns first.
But remember, Western Kentucky has had kicking issues all season. Late blitz. White holds, and he throws it behind Baker. Didn't necessarily look like he was sure where he wanted to go with that football late, and it's 3rd down.
You know, I've been away from coaching since 2011, but this is brand new. Watch this. Look at this tent. This is to keep the coaches from the press box from seeing the signals. That's the evil black cape. That's the cloak of darkness right there. That's unbelievable.
Now, in all fairness, they also could just look up at their TV monitor and see the call.
What do you do for the team? I hold the cloak of darkness.
Did you start that when you?
No, I'm watching all these revelations.
Coach McCartney.
This is brand new.
3rd and 4 for Mike White. And he's not on the same page with Taywan Taylor. He came inside, the ball went outside, and it's 4th down.
You're in a must-go-for-it situation. I don't think they trust their kicker at this point. I think this is probably percentages are saying go for it.
Well, they're 2 for 2 tonight on 4th down.
And for La Tech, what an opportunity to put another nail, not necessarily the final nail, but another nail in a great effort tonight.
This would be a 46-yard, 47-yard field goal. Simcox made from 50 last week, but tonight from 26,
only Jeff Brown watches practice every day.
Yeah. They bring 4. White hangs in the pocket and a 1st down to his tight end. Steve Donatel coming across. And a huge 4th down conversion.
Anticipating man coverage, Brom calls the perfect call here. This is a little bit of a crossing route, which the 2 inside, you watch the tight end run a pick route. Just, it's not necessarily trying to set a pick so you don't get it called, but there's a rub effect to it, and he springs open, and White puts it on the money.
So 3 for 3 tonight on 4th down. White again to the outside. And again, that's low, but that's hauled in by Taywan Taylor.
Bulldogs making him catch it in front. Making him catch it in front. Let that clock keep going. I promise you, every coach on that La Tech team is looking at and hoping it goes a little faster.
White again on the rollout, and that one's dropped by Norris. This drive began with 11 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Down 17, 3.5 minutes. Now again, if they pay it off, you're back in the ball game.
You're back in the ball game, but if you're La Tech, you're sitting there. If we can get this thing down to 6 and hold them, try to hold them to a field goal here because they can't pass up that opportunity now. But we are in position then to salt this thing away.
And they haven't stopped the Bulldogs all night either. White on 3rd down to the end zone. And it's caught for a touchdown. Norris again, his 3rd touchdown grab of the night.
Remarkable athletes running routes tonight. Trent Taylor catches everything. Nicholas Norris catches everything. We've had an unbelievable show by Carlos Henderson. I mean, this is really, really entertaining football.
Now the question is, was the ball across the goal line when his knee came down around the 1?
I think it was. And since they're kicking this extra point, so do they.
Yep. Everything good up in the booth, and the extra point is good. And so it's back to a 2-possession game. 100 points tonight here in Ruston between the Bulldogs and the Hilltoppers. Nicholas Norris with touchdowns 6, 7, and 8 tonight. 10 grabs for 108 yards and a career-high 3 touchdowns. Jason Horwitz, Rick Neuheisel, Taylor Rooks back with you here in Ruston. We came into this game talking about the Taylors. Trent Taylor for La Tech, Taywan Taylor for the Hilltoppers, and they've both been very good.
Absolutely.
But Carlos Henderson has 3 touchdowns, and Norris has 3 touchdowns.
Well, remember, both those guys were in the top 8 returning receivers in Conference USA a year ago, too. This is just a remarkable passing performance by both teams. And now here we are, 10-point lead. This is where Western Kentucky's probably going to have to take some chances defensively.
And they take the chance with the onside kick. And they don't get it.
The reason they took their onside kick chance is because there was not a hands team out there. La Tech anticipated a kick down the field, probably too early for an onside kick, and so they thought their numbers, based on the kick return team was there, were good. But they give up field position.
And it's one of the defensive captains, Lloyd Grogan, who comes away with it.
Yeah, onside kicks are really difficult. They've taken a lot of the chance to make them away by legislating how many people can be on one side of the ball, being able to fair catch the one hopper. Those kind of things make it more difficult.
Higgins, quick pass out to Taylor. Couple of yards. DeAndre Simmons brought him to the ground.
Run pass
here's
option,
the other thing.
Safe way to get 4 yards, stay in bounds, keep that clock moving.
Well, and here's the other thing, too, about the onside kick. La Tech has been stopped once tonight without points. One drive all night without points.
Remarkable. Now let's watch how they work this 40-second clock, because again, this is an up-tempo team. They're not used to it. Usually teams get up there and snap it with inside of 5 seconds, and I said, why, if you can get inside of 5, why wouldn't you get inside of 3 and keep adding those seconds if you're trying to salt something away? We're down to 6, 5.
Now they get it inside of 3. They get it all the way down to 1. Higgins out to Kraft. He's got the edge, but he doesn't have the first down.
Staying in bounds. That was beautifully executed.
Jason Johnson out there to make the tackle. So 3rd and short. 3rd and about 3 coming up here for La Tech.
Now you need to pay it off. A great chance right here to change cadence. Defenses are ears pinned back. They want to make a play, see if you can get a free first down by getting them to jump off sides.
Exactly what you were talking about.
Great discipline. Great discipline. See the signals behind the cloak of dagger.
6 of 9 tonight on 3rd down for the Bulldogs. Higgins all time to throw. Remember, he's a good scrambler. Gets outside. Flag flies. He's got the first. Gets out of bounds, but depends what the flag is, which was thrown back around midfield.
I think we're going to get a tripping call. I think that this big rascal, Jared Kraft, was on the ground, and I think he tried to reach his leg up to help his buddy get outside, and I think he's going to get called for it.
Personal foul, tripping, offense, number 3. 15 yards from the previous spot, remains 3rd down.
Now, 1 penalty, Rick, on La Tech in the first half.
Watch right here
in the second half.
He's going to come down and try to, this is basically just a slide protection where he's going to cut the end line defender, try to get his hands down, and you can see him reach up with his legs. And the referee, the white-hatted official back there, says, not so fast, my friend.
That was Masai White that made the play. Again, TJ McCollum, normally your starting outside backer, last year's leading tackler. And Masai White's done a good job tonight.
Now you can see the clock still rolling. This, you're probably not going to make the first down. You're probably not going to take the chance down the field. This is probably going to be a screen or something underneath. But you'd like to keep this clock rolling.
Higgins needs to stay in bounds. Instead, he just throws it away. And so Western Kentucky saves all 3 of their timeouts. And they're going to get the ball back down by 10.
And think about 40 seconds more added right here. Just this is why you got to be thinking about what am I really going to get accomplished on this play. Probably hard as they back up in zone defense to get that big chunk to make a first down. Let me get something in somebody's hands. Let them run. Keep this clock moving forward.
So the first punt tonight for Logan McPherson. Macarius Fant. Oh, and it's blocked. Shaq Johnson got inside, and Western Kentucky's chasing it down, and a touchdown.
We have a ball game.
Special teams have been huge all night, and Kylan Towner chased it down and took it to the house.
Let me say this. Tony Levine, the special teams coach, former head coach at Houston, has done a great job all night special teams-wise. You're going to see textbook what we call scoop and score right here. Watch this. Watch him pick it up. Now keep scooping, keep scooping, and walk it into the end zone. That is textbook.
Western Kentucky's second block kick of the season. And with 5:02, they are back within 3. Kylan Towner has been enormous tonight on kick returns, and he just made a difference after the block by Shaq Johnson.
This place
55-52.
This place has gone quiet.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. By Sonic. Fly on over for buy one, get one free boneless wings, Monday through Thursday after 5 p.m. And by Go RVing. Find your away. Go RVing.
Back in Ruston, it was 52-31 at the start of the fourth. La Tech was up by 21. But thanks to Western Kentucky's first block kick taken back for a touchdown in 6 years, we have a 3-point game and 5 minutes to go.
How big does that 54-yarder by Jonathan Barnes look right now? Listen, you can't get down if you're La Tech. You got to find a way.
Getting the ball back. And they will start right around their 25-yard line as we go back downstairs on the Western Kentucky sideline to Taylor Rooks.
Thanks, guys. It has been quite the change of demeanor down here. It was a very rowdy Louisiana Tech crowd, but after that block, it got pretty quiet. Taywan Taylor actually came over to the sideline and started shushing the crowd, so I think he's pretty confident in his team right now. When I talked to Coach Brom, he said it's all about momentum. And it looks like Western Kentucky has that momentum now, guys.
So, Rick, how does La Tech get it back?
Well, they're going to just play great defense, right? Jeff Brom's got 3 timeouts. He's going to use them in however he chooses. If he gets, I don't think he'll do it probably until he gets inside of 3 minutes, but if he gets a chance on a 3rd down and long, he might use one to buy some time, thinking that's the chat that he'll get a ball back.
Higgins swings it out to Kraft. This play has worked all night, and on 1st down, it works for 8 yards.
Great job staying with your offense, staying aggressive. Kraft understanding, needing to stay in bounds. Now, the clock keeps going even if he goes out of bounds, but they reset it. You get to take more time off the clock if you stay in bounds.
You do get to take that time, but this is a rhythm offense that had been in rhythm all night. Maybe you take yourself out of it by taking that time.
It's the risk reward, right? You want to stay aggressive, you want to do that, but you also have to limit the opportunities. But now that we're down to a 1-score game, you've got to stay on the gas pedal.
On 2nd and 2, it's Jared Kraft. He's got the edge and a 1st down, and he finally goes down. Late flag flies. Jason Johnson, backup safety with the tackle.
I think we're going to get another chop block. Somebody from behind seeing that they're going high-low. Zone plays, somebody cutting from behind when somebody's involved.
Personal foul, low block.
Killer.
Offense number 5. 15 yards from the spot of the foul. Remains 2nd down.
That was the back judge that saw that and called it.
And that's Trent Taylor called for the chop block.
You know, cut blocking, we're going to see it. The idea here is somebody's blocking high, and then somebody's going to come in and block low, and what happens is he fell in behind. I actually don't know that they got on the same guy. But there's no review of that penalty.
So instead of 1st down with the clock moving, it's 2nd and 11 with the clock moving. Western Kentucky, all 3 timeouts. Trailed in this game by 21 to start the 4th. Higgins after the bobble. Looking downfield, fires late, and it's broken up.
Well, I think he got there early. I think we're going to look at this and say he got there early.
Drell Green made the deflection. Trent Taylor, the intended receiver.
Green has to make the play he's making, but I think you're going to see that he's there a hair early. Bang, bang. Hard to call.
I don't know if that's early.
Bang, bang. I agree with you. My eyes said a little early. I wouldn't have been surprised to see a flag.
So from comfort to 3rd and 11, feeling like you have to get it.
Now you need to call your best football play right here.
And the play clock was down to 1, and Skip Holtz takes a timeout.
Timeout. Louisiana Tech. It is their first. It will be 30 seconds.
How about some of this comeback here from Western Kentucky? Again, down 52-31 to start the 4th quarter. They went right down the field, and a touchdown 55 seconds into the 4th to get it to 14.
The anatomy of a comeback always starts with the belief that you can do it.
You got to stop. And then this. The block punt from Shaquille Johnson. Taken back by Kylan Towner for a touchdown. To get us to where we are, a 3-point ball game with 3:28 to go here in Ruston.
And that didn't cost him any time for that second score. We said it was a 3-score game. You have to imagine 2 and 3 minutes to get each score. When you get it on a block punt, it's bonus time.
Also the Taywan Taylor one-handed grab.
It's been a remarkable game. And let's not forget, the La Tech has played terrifically. They're just having a hard time closing it out. But it's still available to them. Big 3rd down right here.
2 weeks ago, Louisiana Tech blew a 20-point 3rd quarter lead. They lost by 4 at Middle Tennessee. Tonight at home, I think this crowd thought it was over. And this is 3rd and 11, and it's certainly not over. Higgins. Underneath. Carlos Henderson has the first down.
Great job.
He got hammered, but after he picked up the first down.
Speed kills, my friend. Speed kills. This is just a great job by Henderson, seeing the chains and putting it into extra drive, overdrive to get there.
Drell Green knocked himself out of this game, but the speed of Carlos Henderson to get to the sticks.
Green was trying to keep him from getting there. This is just great competition. Now you see the clock started again, even though he was out of bounds, and they're going to milk it for all they can.
Western Kentucky still with 3 timeouts.
They're going to start using them now.
The handoff is to Kraft, and he's brought down in the backfield. Keith Brown, graduate transfer from Louisville. And there's that first timeout taken by Jeff Brom.
Right.
Timeout.
So they'll step aside. We'll take the break too. Catch our breath for the last 2:43. Jeff Brom's team's back within 3 after a block punt return for a touchdown. 2nd and 13. He's taken 1 timeout, Rick.
This is where the head coach has to get on the phones and talk to his defensive coordinator, Nick Holt, and say, Nick, go after him. I don't care if they beat us deep. We have to contest everything underneath. We have to get the ball back here.
Out of the timeout is Higgins throwing the screen. It's Kraft. Stays in bounds. And now out of bounds, pushed out of bounds by Keith Brown.
But still outside of 2 minutes, so the clock will keep going. That's just poor tackling right there by the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, and he picked up 10. So 3rd and 3 facing Nick Holt's defense. And the 2nd timeout taken by Western Kentucky.
Yeah, they're forced to do it now. And as a matter of fact, La Tech right here is 1 yard from winning the game.
Western Kentucky.
They can ice this thing.
It will be 30 seconds.
With the first down. And Skip's got to be asking himself, do I have 2 downs to do it? Right? I can win the game. Now, you can see the risk in that because you're giving the ball back on the inside the 50-yard line, and you're giving him a chance to tie the game or win it. But you've got a chance to win the game with 2 downs with your offense, which has been the superior unit on the field tonight.
Well, listen, if you don't get the first down on 3rd down,
Mr. Clock Operator,
and you're staring,
there'll be a timeout.
Seconds back on the clock, so 2:25. Western Kentucky takes its final timeout. If you get it on 4th, what you're talking about, you take a knee the rest of the way.
It's a philosophical question. You know, the old guard would say, no, you punt that. You win the game with your defense. But given what we've seen tonight in a game that's sitting here at 55-52.
What defense?
What's the better chance that you have? And that's where you're struggling as a coach, because you're sitting there wondering, am I going to get criticized for that? But Skip Holtz is such a graybeard now in this business. Having been there and done that, I think he's beyond that. I think he's going to actually, if they don't knock it through this, I think he's going to really consider going for it on 4th down.
13 seconds, by the way, not 3. 13 seconds put back on the game clock. So 2:35. Now, if they get the first down here on 3rd down,
got to imagine a timeout's going to be called, and then you can get 40, 40, 40. So they're probably going to have to run a little bit. Probably not having to put the ball in the air, kick the ball away, and have
maybe 10, 20
seconds left at game's end. Here we go.
So their T-bone package on 3rd and 1.
Trying to get him to jump off sides. Clever.
Hollycraft and McKnight in the backfield. It's McKnight, and he is met in the backfield. Masai White brought him down at the 43. That is a loss of 3.
That is an absolute sellout by the defensive unit of Western Kentucky. Nick Holt did exactly what Jeff Brom asked him to do. The final timeout has been taken, and now given this distance, I think we're going to see a punt.
Now remember, the last time they brought out the punt team, the only time they have punted tonight, it was a block punt return for a touchdown to get us to where we are here in a 1-possession game.
Yeah, they'd like to forget that, but they can't. They're coaching that up. Remember, this is the same coaching staff that fixed that kickoff return problem, right? Or the kickoff coverage problem in the first half. This has been chalked up. They're having that conversation right now, but they're going to have to get this punt executed, and then they're going to have to go play great defense.
Western Kentucky, 13-game conference winning streak on the line. A win tonight would tie Southern Miss's record from 98 to 2000. They also are trying for their largest comeback in school history, down by 21 entering the 4th. So the punt opportunity for Logan McPherson. Nicarius Fant is back deep for Western Kentucky. This time he gets it off, and he punts it away from Nicarius Fant. And the Bulldogs down it at the 21-yard line. Well, one successful play, kicking-wise. Jonathan Barnes, from 54 yards early in the 4th quarter, snuck it in the left upright.
It's the difference. It's the difference. Remarkable comeback by Western Kentucky, but they've got to finish the job now. Down 3, plenty of time, no urgency, but no timeouts.
Yeah.
So getting the field goal team, should it come down to that, will have to be orchestrated carefully.
Pressure comes from Ferguson, and Mike White lost the football. He lost the football, and Jalen Ferguson comes away with it. And Louisiana Tech is going to win at home.
Ball game. Holy smokes, you talk about needing a defensive play. They just got one. Bulldog Nation has come alive. What's Karl Malone doing right now?
Fumbles have killed the Hilltoppers this season. And Aaron Brown stripped it, and Jalen Ferguson came away with it.
Mike White in trouble. This is where, as a quarterback, you got to realize clock drives are rhythm. If it's not there, just get rid of it. Just get it out of your hand. You can't go backward. Sacks are lethal to clock drives. And obviously, when you get it stripped from your hands, really lethal. Should be in victory formation right here, Jason. Favorite call. This is my favorite call as a head coach. Hand my headsets to somebody and call victory.
Yeah. Well, they're not doing that just yet.
I don't understand.
Jared Kraft tripped up.
You've got 2 seconds to back up and take a knee. 2 seconds to back up a knee, and the other 40 you're gone. Don't need to take that risk.
You talked about algebra and calculus and some of those other things. That's going on the sideline right now. They're doing some subtraction.
There's too many horror stories out there. Too many tales from the crypt, not exercising proper clock discipline. He'll get it right this time. I think we're going to see victory this time. They don't need the cloak and dagger for victory. I don't believe. Here we go.
No, still not.
I don't understand. That ball gets stripped.
So here they can take it down to about 32 seconds.
And
you snap it, and take a knee, and that's it.
Yes. I don't understand the need for handing that off. But I'm sitting up here, and Skip Holtz has got himself a heck of a job, and what he's got is a great victory.
Yeah, he's staring at the scoreboard, and he just realized it. Yeah, he just realized it.
Great win for La Tech. You know, their margin for error in Conference USA was very slim, given the loss at Middle Tennessee. Here's my favorite play, Jason.
Yeah, the play clock hit 0, and Skip Holtz called a timeout. So all those issues as they're trying to figure out the math for the fact that they could have taken the victory formation.
These spread offenses don't know how to play this kind of offense. We only have 4 wide receivers going 100 miles an hour down the field. Hey, better to get it right than have an accident, right?
Well, for Western Kentucky, 13-game conference winning streak's going to come to an end. The same spot where they lost their last Conference USA game here in Ruston, Louisiana. That was 59-10, the second largest victory for Louisiana Tech in 40 years in conference play. Here tonight, it looked like it was going to get out of hand. It was 52-31, and we had a ball game.
Give Western Kentucky a lot of credit for not quitting. Jeff Brom's got himself a heck of a program. We talked about Skip Holtz and his prowess as a head coach. How about Jeff Brom and his brief career there at Western Kentucky? And don't think he won't be on some lists when jobs come open at the end of the year.
Now there's the victory formation taken, and now the clock will run out. Well, Louisiana Tech to open the season was close to pulling off the upset at Arkansas. They didn't play well against Texas Tech. They blew the 20-point lead at Middle Tennessee. But the Bulldogs seem to have figured it out, and they knock off Western Kentucky 55-52 here in Ruston on Thursday night.
Fabulous effort by the Bulldogs. Great spirited comeback by the Hilltoppers. Great football exhibited right here. Conference USA should be really proud.
It should, and it should be exciting too. Between Middle Tennessee and Western Kentucky, those two teams will play next week. Louisiana Tech, Southern Miss, they don't meet till the final regular season game of the year, probably to decide the division.
Skip Holtz is looking to a few days off, get guys healed up. We saw the quarterback Higgins nursing that groin again. He gets to rest. But what a great win. Had to have it. And when the irony, when it all came down to it, it was the defense coming up with the big play.
And Skip Holtz talking with Mike White. When Skip Holtz was at USF, he recruited Mike White to come to South Florida. He did. Skip came here, and Mike White, after a couple of years of playing for the South Florida Bulls, transferred to Western Kentucky.
You've heard of 6 degrees of separation. In the football world, it's about 2. Irony. Both Skip and Todd Fitch were in that kid's living room, getting him to come to South Florida. Didn't work out there. He ends up going to Western Kentucky.
And it's his fumble with a chance down 3 and a drive trying to put together for the largest comeback in Western Kentucky history that ends up being the difference tonight at the end. Great comeback. Weren't able to finish it off.
Not often we get to see games where 3 guys score 3 touchdowns. Not often we get to see both teams score more than 50 points. Just an awesome, awesome display.
Skip Holtz on the winning side, and he's with Taylor.
Coach, you just said that this was an entertaining game. Got interesting at the end, but you pulled it out. How'd you get it done?
Well, you know what? They're champions. They bring in the longest conference winning streak in the country. We knew they weren't going to go away easy. Talked about it at halftime. This game was a long way from over. We just got to keep competing. And proud of the way we competed. Got a couple of turnovers, especially the one late. Just proud of the way they kept competing. But we got it done with a couple of turnovers on defense and just kept trying to grind that clock out in the second half.
You said this game was important, said you had to bring that belt back to Ruston. Just how big was this victory?
Well, you know, it's big for us already having one loss in the conference. Stubbing our toe a couple weeks ago and losing to Middle Tennessee. We can't afford a second loss, and we told them the pressure's on us. We stubbed our toe. We got to get it done. We got to go play. You know what? And I'm really proud of the focus they came out here with. I thought Ryan Higgins, I mean, the skill kids, Carlos Henderson, Trent Taylor, Jared Kraft, our big four, I thought really came to play. Their focus, they were dialed in, and you know, we just got to keep getting better. I mean, that's the key. We're not where we need to be. We just got to keep working at it and getting better.
I see you're proud of your guys. Go celebrate.
I appreciate
Thanks,
it. Thank
Coach.
you all.
Back to you, Jason.
All right, Taylor, 988 combined yards of offense, but the defense down the stretch, the difference. Jason. The Bulldogs improved to 3-3. The Hilltoppers fall to 3-3. For Rick Neuheisel and Taylor Rooks and our entire crew, I'm Jason Horowitz. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home. CBS Sports. Let's go back to the studio. Adam Zucker, Brian Jones, Houston Nutt, Christian Fourier in our CBS Sports Network studios.
I'll tell you what, Jason, Rick, Taylor, if we're going to stay up late and watch some football, that's the way to do it. 55-52. It was 41-38 last year. Western Kentucky won that one, but now they go down, and their conference winning streak here ends at 13. And how about that? Western, they came all the way back almost. They were down 21 in the fourth, but
it was like these preseason basketball games. Back and forth, no defense necessary, right?
Until the end, the big sack fumble.
Until the end, they came up, and that's what happens in these ball games. You got these spread offenses now. You got to hold serve. That's the key. You can't be kicking field goals. You got to score touchdowns, and then your defense has to find a way to get a stop, and that's what La Tech.
54-yard field goal ends up being the difference, though.
Western Kentucky's, you can tell they're used to winning. The way they came back, they had 13-game winning streak. Excellent job by Coach Holtz to win that game. That's going to help their team. But how about Carlos Henderson? 8 catches, 232 yards.
That's like Julio Jones type numbers. I mean, that's like ridiculous. But yeah, that's what they do. They put points up on the board, and I give them credit. Every time they got into the red zone, Louisiana Tech scored. And same with Western Kentucky. You hit it, BJ. I felt like it was one of those games where whoever had the ball last was going to win. But in the end, in a game where there's nothing but offensive numbers, the defense ends up making the biggest play.
Yeah, Louisiana Tech did have the ball last because they got the strip on the fumble there. And by the way, Western Kentucky doesn't get any rest for its weariness here. They got to deal with Middle Tennessee next, another happy passing team that was very strong against Louisiana Tech.
They got to get ready. They got to get that pass defense ready to go.
Yeah, it's interesting to see this development or evolution of La Tech. Remember, it's Kenneth Dixon.
Right.
He was the man the last 3-4 years, and now they're spreading it out and chunking it all over.
All right. We will be right back with a full hour of Inside College Football.